life. Blue Emu. Works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
You can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
News 3 live at 11 with Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera leading the way in Las Vegas.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Welcome to Velo, the modern take on nicotine. They're hassle-free nicotine pouches that are leaving the chargers, smoke, and mess in the rear view. So whether you're in the zone at the office, with your crew at the bar, or kicking back at 38,000 feet, Velo's ready. Go to Velo.com to find your retailer. Velo, no limits. Website restricted to age 21 plus tobacco consumers. Underage sale prohibited.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM, KDON.
The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, what's up, everybody? It is the Vegas Take. So glad you could join us, Sharp and Shapiro, on a Thursday. Boy, do we have a jam-packed show for you today. And we are going to be talking about the breaking news, the House passing a resolution formalizing the impeachment process. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes. But boy, do we have some great guests. I'm really excited today. So glad you could be here. So coming up here at the bottom of the hour, a Purple Heart recipient, an Army veteran, and a talk show host. His name is Brian Suits. He also happens to be a conservative talk show host. I'm going to ask him how he feels about the president and some on the right going after this man, Vin. No better person to talk to than this war hero, Brian Suits, coming up at the bottom of the hour. Coming up in hour number 2, in my eyes, another hero. He is a Parkland dad who lost his child at the Parkland school shooting. He has a new book out that details the shooter's red flags before the massacre. His name is Andrew Pollack. He will be joining us coming up in hour number 2. We're also going to be getting word from a man by the name of Mattress Mac. Have you heard this story? We had him on last month. He wagered upwards of $12 million on the Houston Astros to win the World Series. They had 2 chances to do it. I don't mean to laugh. I feel bad. It was a $22 million swing for this guy, Mattress Mac. How many mattresses is he going to have to sell to reclaim that money? Mattress Mac will be joining us today in an exclusive interview. That'll be a lot of fun. Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports is going to be joining us as well. He himself has been in the national news over the course of the last few weeks over an argument in regards to Donald Trump where one of his employees actually got fired at TMZ. So this is the first time we've had Babcock on since this incident. So we'll be talking with him in hour number 3. And it's also our Dirty Dining segment every Thursday with ABC 13's Darcy Spears, the restaurants you do not want to go to in Las Vegas. So as I said, and I think I proved, we have a loaded show lined up for you today. But of course, we have to talk about the breaking news. We have to talk about what is a huge news story. And by the way, we're awaiting press conferences from the GOP and Democratic lawmakers in regards to the House vote approving the Trump impeachment resolution. First of all, let me talk about the actual vote itself. The vote was 232 to 196. If I'm not mistaken, the Democrats needed, I believe, either 215 or maybe it was 217 for this to pass, and it passed easily. But what is amazing to me about this entire process, and it shows once again, is how divided we are as a country politically. Every single Republican voted against this, regardless of the fact that you have Purple Heart recipients, war heroes, that are pretty much saying what many of the Democrats are saying, that the president did was completely inappropriate and might have been against the law. Of course, we're talking about the conversation he had with the president of the Ukraine. But that's not enough for Republicans to do the right thing. That's not enough for Republicans to want to get down to the actual truth, because make no mistake about it. You can say what you want. Democrats, they're just trying to get this guy out of office because they're sour about 2016. Even if that is true, the American people need to know the truth. And obviously, Republicans do not want to know the truth. People like Laura Ingraham, the evil witch, racist, as I like to call her, the scarecrow, who could just walk out for Halloween tonight, doesn't have to wear a costume. She said today on Twitter, "It's not an impeachment inquiry. It's 2020 election meddling by House Dems, panicked by their lame field." Yeah, that's what it is, Laura. It's about the lame field. Yeah, that's what it is. It's got nothing to do with the fact that there are people within the Donald Trump administration that worked for the President of the United States that are testifying before Congress that what the President did was inappropriate. War heroes with shrapnel in their body that have given their willing to give their life for this country, that are telling the truth and saying what the President did was inappropriate. But Laura Ingraham wants to avoid those types of facts. Yeah, I'm sure there are many Democrats that are happy that this is all going on. I'm sure there are many Democrats that will do anything and everything to try to get the president out of office. I agree with that. But that doesn't make what the president did right. And a month ago, when this story first came out, I told you that this is going to be the demise of Donald Trump. I told you that this was going to be the end of Donald Trump. Why? Well, I looked at the transcript that was released by the White House. And that was what the White House released. And it was damning. And now we're learning that there's more information that the White House did not put forth, according to Vidman, who's testified over the last 2 days. Again, a man with shrapnel in his body that risked his life for this country, who is testifying under oath that he knew right away in this conversation that he didn't hear secondhand. He listened into this conversation, that he raised red flags, that he thought it was inappropriate from the get-go. And now he has said that the White House has withheld some of the stuff in that transcript in relation to bringing up Joe Biden and the Biden family. If that is not enough for a Republican to raise his hand and say, you know what, I want to find out the truth. Let's find out what's going on. But you know what? Many of these Republicans won't do that because they're cowards. They're all Mark Amadeus of the world, cowards. The second they criticize the president and the second the president turns on them, they put on the Donald Trump knee pads because that's what these Republicans do. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying that Democrats are not doing some of the same stuff. In no way, shape, or form am I going on the radio every day and saying Democrats don't do some of the similar dirty deeds that the Republicans do. Sadly, I would never say that because it's not true. And I personally believe that if we had a Democrat in office and a Democrat did the same thing that Donald Trump did, I think the Democrats would be acting the same as the Republicans. They would be acting as cowards, sadly. Not all of them, but most of them, sadly. Because this is the state of politics today. This is why we are so divided today. And we have been divided for a very, very long time. But I think we are more divided today than ever. Sadly. Why don't people on the right want to know the truth? Why is it that some people on the right are going after some of these that are testifying, including Vidman, who is a war hero? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because many of them will say or do anything to deflect. Many of them will go after the character of some of these very important witnesses. And make no mistake about it, John Bolton is going to testify. When that subpoena comes, I absolutely believe that John Bolton will testify as well. And he is a very important witness. This guy, Vidman, for Donald Trump to go on Twitter and call him a never-Trumper is disgusting. And by the way, even if some of these people that are testifying are Democrats, so what? Does that mean that they're lying? Because they might be a Democrat, does that mean that they're not telling the truth? Absolutely not. But Republicans today, many of them will do everything and anything and say anything they can to avoid the actual truth. So what is the actual truth? Based on the transcript, the truth is that the president brought up the Bidens. The president asked the president of the Ukraine to open up an investigation into the Bidens. That's what we know for sure. And there are people in the Trump administration, several that have come forward, that have said that they believed that the aid was withheld for that reason and that reason alone. And John Bolton is somebody else who was concerned about that, who believed that's exactly what the president was doing. So now where are we at? Well, we're in a situation now where the House, as I mentioned, just passed this resolution just moments ago, by the way, formalizing this impeachment process. Just about every single Democrat except for 2 voted for it. And if memory serves me right, every single Republican voted nay. You want to know how divided we are as a country? Well, just look at the vote today. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Like I said, there are many Mark Amadeus of the world that are voting today, that are afraid. They're scared. They're afraid of opposition to the President of the United States. They're afraid that it could hurt their careers. And I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. Mark Amadeus is nothing but a yellow coward. That's what Mark Amadeus is. He was one of the first Republicans to say, hey, let's go ahead with this impeachment inquiry and let's see what happens. That's basically what he said. Then what does the president do? He says, you no longer represent me in campaign 2020 in Nevada. So all of a sudden, Mark Amadeus changes his tune, won't say one negative thing about the President of the United States because he doesn't care about you or me, because he's a coward, that's all, and all he cares about is his own career. That's Mark Amadeus for you. We'll take some phone calls on this. I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about this vote? Is this a shock to you? It's certainly not a shock to me. Democrats had enough votes in there that they were going to pass this thing. And that's exactly what happened. And now we're awaiting a news conference. The number to call if you want to be a part of this conversation, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-257-5396. What do you think about this vote? I told you guys a month ago that I believe that this will be the end of Donald Trump. And I think there's probably 2 different reasons for it. Maybe 2 different reasons for why this is going on. Either the president is purposely trying to get impeached because he does not want to be the president for another 4 years, or he's so naive and so dumb, and he's had so many yes people around him his whole life, he thinks there's no accountability for his actions. It's one of those 2, maybe both. I don't know. But I said it before, he didn't have to do this. The president did not have to try to dig up dirt on Joe Biden. I believe he would win in 2020 regardless. I don't care who those candidates are up there. The president would have won re-election in 2020 regardless. He did not have to do this. But as I said, either he does not want to be president for another 4 years, or he's so dumb and naive he didn't realize what he was doing was wrong, and it could be an impeachable offense. It's one of those 2, or maybe both of them. I don't know. But we're going to have to wait and find out what's going on here and see how hard the president fights this, and if he even wants to be president for another 4 years. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe you do. Number to call, 257-5396. Again, that number if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. Let's lead off with Brian. Brian, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning. What's up?
No sidekick today?
I don't know where my co-host is. It's not much of a co-host if he's not here to start the show. I don't know.
Blast it. Well, I'm going to – you say this is going to be the end of Donald Trump, and
yes.
You said that last month, but I'm going to say the exact opposite. I'm predicting this is going to be the beginning of a tsunami that's going to rip control of the House of Representatives away from the Democrats back to the Republicans, and it's going to increase the number of senators elected this time to a supermajority, over 60 senators. And I'm also going to predict it's going to be the largest blowout in the presidential election we've had in 50 years.
Okay, you're entitled to your opinion on that, but let me ask you a question, Brian. When you have war heroes like Vindman that are testifying, hold on a second.
About him?
You can ask me. Let me ask you a question first, and then I'll give you a question. Sure. When you have people like Vindman who come out, who say they had major concerns about that phone call. And keep in mind, this wasn't secondhand knowledge. He was listening to the phone call. When you have others like Bolton who were afraid that he was going to hold on to that financial aid, and they wanted to release it because they were afraid that Trump was holding on to it because of this reason, because of the Biden investigation. And you have this guy who is a Purple Heart recipient, who has shrapnel in his body, who is a hero, who is willing to give his life for this country. You don't think that that is cause of concern?
Not really, because I'll tell you what you keep characterizing this gentleman, and he is very impressive, his credentials, as a war hero.
Well, he is.
What did he do to save the lives, to put his life on the line to save his fellow squad members' lives.
I cannot believe I am ashamed of what you just said. Let me repeat.
I'm ashamed of the way you mischaracterize what a war hero is.
Excuse me. He won the
Okay,
Purple
Brian?
Heart. He won the Purple Heart. He was hit by an.
shrapnel when he was near
He
where
was
an
hit.
IED happened.
He was
and
hit.
that is, and I salute him for that.
So why are you
I salute
questioning
him
his
for the service.
heroism? Why are you
There's
questioning
a
it?
difference between a war hero and
please.
somebody who gets wounded in the war. You
Are-
don't seem to
are-
understand.
There's a
those
difference. Hold on a second. I want to quote that. There's a difference between a war hero and someone who gets hurt at war. What the hell are you talking about? He risked his life for this country, Brian.
I just explained it to you,
No, you
Brian.
didn't.
A
No, you
war
didn't.
hero is somebody who wins the Medal of Honor. the
So what does that mean? He
Silver
doesn't have
Star for
credibility?
bravery,
So
or some other medal because
All
they
right.
put their life on the
So,
line.
so your definition, because of your ridiculous definition, you think he loses credibility? Are you kidding me?
No, but here's where he does lose credibility.
I can't wait to hear this.
He is a staff member for the executive branch. He doesn't make foreign policy. The president of the United States
So what?
does.
Why does that hurt his
Okay?
credibility? So what?
Because he should have, if he disagrees with the phone call, he should have went up the chain of command. He did not do that.
He's not the only
He went-
person. He's
he
not the
went
only
in
person.
As a whistleblower, just like the so-called whistleblower that nobody knows anything about.
Yeah,
now.
because
He's
that's the law.
vanished from the
By the
scenery,
way,
okay?
newsflash, because that's the law. When you have a whistleblower, the name cannot become public. That is why they set that up to protect
he
people like that.
He should have went up the chain of command, not do what he did.
So
Number two,
that's. Go ahead. Go ahead.
do you disagree with that, Brian?
I mean, first of all, your description of what a war hero is laughable and insane and ridiculous, number one. Number two, to go after his credibility because of his job and what he's doing as a job is
number
also
two,
ridiculous.
The President of the United States and the President of Ukraine have both said that there was nothing improper.
So because
who am I going to believe? The President of Ukraine, the President of the United States,
let me respond
or
to
a
that.
third-level aid?
Okay, first of all, I wouldn't talk about Vidman as a third-level aide, and if you're paying attention to the news,
exactly what he
he's
is.
not the only person that thought this was inappropriate. That's number one. Number two, keep in mind that the president of the Ukraine has to be on the president's good side, because he's not on the president's good side, the United States is not going to help him. So just because the president of the Ukraine says, oh, the president didn't do anything wrong, doesn't mean that the president didn't do anything wrong, and you are naive to think otherwise, and you are complicit.
I beg to differ, Brian. I'm going to take the words of those people over Mr. Vidman any day.
So you're going to take the word over. Hold on, let me finish.
Here's the third
You're
thing,
going to take.
Brian.
Hold on, I'll let you get to your ridiculous third thing in a second.
Okay.
You're telling me that you take the word over the president of a foreign country over our own. Is that what you're saying right now? And yeah, I am going to call Vidman a war hero, whether you like it or not, because he received the Purple Heart. He's absolutely a war hero. You're going to take the president of the Ukraine's word over a Purple Heart war hero? Is that what you're saying on this show?
No, but here's the other thing. There are other people listening
you are.
in on that phone call. Mike Pompeo and other higher-ranking staff members,
and you don't
who
think
have far more higher
and you don't think
degrees of responsibility
Mike
than
Pompeo.
Mr. Vidman. And here's the third thing, Brian. Mr. Vidman has not been cross-examined by anybody.
All right. I appreciate your opinion, Brian. I completely disagree with on every front. I'm so glad Brian called, by the way. And by the way, the number to call is 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Brian is a perfect example of what some are doing on the right that will not criticize Donald Trump. Did you hear what Brian just did? Brian just went after Vidman, and Brian just went after his credentials. Keep in mind, Vidman is a Purple Heart recipient. That is the definition of a war hero. And Brian just called up, and Brian just went after him, calling him not a war hero.
And Brian, what does that mean? When you're a Purple Heart recipient, what does that mean, Brian?
It means you're a hero.
It means that you were wounded in the line of battle for your country.
For your country. That is the definition of a hero, is it not, JD?
I would say it's pretty close.
Yeah, but pretty close. It is. 257-5396. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, you're next. What's on your mind?
What's up, Anthony?
Hey, my people, how are you today?
Doing great.
I'm just so shocked. I mean, even if the president's found not guilty, he has to go through the process because he committed an impeachable offense. I mean, it's an impeachable, what he did. It was private. He was trying to get someone to investigate for his own benefit, not for the benefit of the country.
Yeah.
He admitted that.
Anthony, I agree with you. Anthony,
unbelievable.
Anthony, I agree with you. But this is what is even more unbelievable to me. People like Brian, who just called in, actually people who represent others, who actually have gone after this Purple Heart recipient. They've gone after his credentials. It is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in politics in the 39 years I've been alive.
I think that I think to turn down the witnesses is what you have to do if you're on defense, right? And for some reason, our Congress, Republicans in Congress, who are Congress, right, an equal branch of government, are working as a defense attorney for the executive branch of government. That is crazy in its own.
Yeah.
They can call witnesses now, but I think that people don't understand is that we don't take an oath to the president.
Right.
Our oath is to preserve and defend this Constitution.
Anthony, you said it. Anthony, you said it yourself. It's not you're absolutely right. These politicians, they shouldn't be taking an oath to the president of the United States. It should be to the country, and we want to get down to the truth. 257-5396 is the number to call. Andre, you're next. Go ahead.
Morning, Brian. How you doing, man?
Good. What's on your mind?
So, I think this is where you keep on repeating the same thing, and I think this is where you're going wrong. And once again, somebody who serves in the military, people in the military, like I said yesterday, they're not exempt from cross-examination and criticism. And even though let's go with the assumption which he is, you're absolutely correct that he is a war hero and he served the country honorably.
Andre, can I just interject? I'll let you finish. Let me just interject. Where have I ever said that he should not be subjected to cross-examination? Have I said that?
I got you, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you keep on emphasizing on those points, that he served his country.
And why do you think I'm doing that? Because people are going after him. That's why. They're going after his character. That's why, Andre.
I got you. But what I'm saying is, let's not pretend that there are people in the military that are actually have been in the past and throughout history traitors to this country that have served.
I am not going to make. Yes, you're right. And there are also. I agree. And there are also police officers that are criminals. But I'm not going to go out here and assume that every police officer is a criminal.
For example, Chelsea Manning, she was a hero. But I could go on and on and on with people.
So let me ask you a question. Since we've known about this guy Vindman and his history and what we know about him, besides being a war hero, he's not a radical lefty. He's not someone that is a never-Trumper, as Donald Trump suggests. So let me ask you a question now. Why would you think that a guy like Vindman would go out of his way to lie and not tell the truth? Please explain that.
I just told you. Like I said, I don't know the guy, neither do you. All we're going is based on what we're being told, and that's the problem. See, but what I'm not going to take off the table, though, Brian, is the fact that he could have some biases. He may not like the president like a lot of people.
So he's going to take it. So even though he was willing to die for this country, he was willing to take an oath and speak in front of Congress under oath, and you're telling me there's a chance he's probably making stuff up and lying. I'm sorry. I appreciate the call, Andre, but I could not disagree with you more. Again, a reminder, the impeachment vote has moved on, and Vindman, basically what's going on is the impeachment vote happened in the last hour or so, and we're going to continue to monitor this story. And we're going to move on now. And coming up next segment, we are going to be talking to a Purple Heart veteran himself. His name is Brian Suits. He is a conservative talk show host in L.A. What does he think about all this? And we'll take more of your phone calls coming up, too, at 257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this.
Are you interested in owning rental properties right here in the Las Vegas area? Auction.com, the nation's leading real estate auctioneer, must sell 102 rental properties in the Las Vegas and Henderson markets. These are turnkey, income-producing single-family homes and condos with tenants and leases in place. That's right, the tenants are in place and currently paying rent on over 100 homes to be auctioned individually at auction.com/radio. Financing is available, and a broker co-op is being offered for this one-time unprecedented online auction to be held November 11th through 13th. Add more rentals to your portfolio, diversify your investments to add real estate, or buy your very first real estate investment. This is an auction that can't be missed. View all homes and auction details at auction.com/radio. That's www.auction.com/radio. Auction is subject to a reserve.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, Safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
So how's your boy doing in school? Not so good. His grades are getting worse, and all he does is play video games, and when I finally get him to do his homework, he says he doesn't understand it. Oh, that sounds like my daughter. Well, not anymore. What do you mean not anymore? My daughter started going to the Infinity Math Institute about 3 months ago. I sent her there as a punishment because she got an F in math. Boy, was she mad at me. But 1 week later, she was talking about how much she liked it. Now she has an A in math, and all her other grades have gone up too. Get out of here. That sounds too good to be true. I know, but it is true. When I went down there to check it out, I couldn't believe how nice everything was and how everyone was so nice. I never knew anything like this even existed. I went to another tutoring place, and they were too expensive. It didn't help all that much. Infinity must be super expensive. That's the craziest thing. They're less expensive than any of the other places and so much more effective. You should call them. They even have scholarships for families with financial struggles. Tell them Sharp and Shapiro sent you for a discount. I will. What's their number? 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777, or you can visit them at themathinstitute.com. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Special report impeachment inquiry formalized.
For the House of Representatives to exercise its constitutional power to impeach Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America.
So started a quick debate and a vote in the House of Representatives today to open a formal impeachment inquiry of the president. Republican leader Kevin McCarthy critical of the resolution and Democrats supporting it.
For the last 3 years, they have predetermined the president's guilt. They have never accepted the voters' choice to make him president. So for 37 days and counting, they have run an unprecedented, undemocratic, and unfair investigation.
Democrat Adam Schiff.
This resolution sets the stage for the next phase of our investigation, one in which the American people will have the opportunity to hear from the witnesses firsthand.
The president was quick to tweet the House is conducting the greatest witch hunt in American history. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
I-15 northbound, Sahara off-ramp, working a collision. Have 3 of them on the northbound 95. First one's at the auto show off-ramp. Fire crews on scene, tying up the left lane there. Northbound 95 at Charleston. This one's off right before the Hat Trick. Lake Mead Boulevard off-ramp, crash in the core area. Another injury wreck on Trop and Las Vegas Boulevard, as well as Eastern at the 95. Turning an accident, you deserve Sam and Ash, the injury attorneys who listen and do what's right. Call Sam and Ash 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000. That's 1-800-304-2000. I'm Bradley J. in the KDON Traffic Center.
So there's this guy named Jordan, and he's a healthy guy. He's a dad of 6, and he works as a guide in Alaska. But then he goes to the doctor, and he's diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And here's the thing. He had switched from medical insurance to MediShare, which is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. So the question for Jordan and his wife Jenny was, is this really going to work?
Our medical bills exceeded $160,000. MediShare members shared all our bills.
And it was about more than just the money, too. This is a real community.
MediShare is a family, a group of people that stick with you through the hardest times of your life. I just don't know how I could have done it without MediShare.
It's so worth looking into. There's a reason this is growing so fast. If you want to find out more, here's a number for you, 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE.
844-91-BIBLE.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
If there are 23 people in a room, there is a 50% chance 2 of those people have the same birthday.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be. Hey, everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care. I want to share with you a story. I was driving to meet somebody for lunch in the Valley one day when I was stopped at a red light, hit from behind by a driver going around 40 miles an hour. My car was totaled. I suffered injuries. I needed help. I contacted Van Law Firm. Within a few days, I was getting the medical treatment I needed, and within 6 months, I received the maximum settlement. Give Van Law Firm a call, 702-500-HURT, for a free consultation. You pay nothing unless they win. It's the Van Law Firm. Call them, 702-500-HURT, and mention you heard it from the Vegas Take.
My name is Tim Mullen. I'm the Center Director for USO Las Vegas. We rely heavily on our volunteers. They're the heart and soul of our organizations, the one on the front lines greeting our service members and their guests, whether it's through our lounges at the airport or all the outreach events that we do on base. So we encourage anyone interested in getting involved to volunteer with the USO and support our local military community. Our service members and their families can use your help. You can get involved by going online to volunteers.uso.org or calling us at 702-261-6590.
My name is Janine McCoy with United Blood Services, and we need your help. Blood donations are low during this time of year. Take an hour out of your day to save 3 patients' lives. Donate now. Go to bloodhero.com, or you can call us at 702-233-9620.
I'm Tony Elliott with the Nevada Department of Transportation. If you're looking for up-to-date road and construction information, be sure to visit our website, nevadadot.com.
This station is conducting a weekly test of the Southern Nevada, Inyo County, California Operational Area Emergency Alert System. This is only a test.
.720 on the AM, 101.5 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
We need to eat the babies.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. By the way, a quick reminder, guy who lost $12 million on the Astros yesterday, Mattress Mac, will be joining us later in the program. Also coming up in hour number 2, a Parkland dad lost his child. Andrew Pollack has a new book out. He's going to be joining us in the next hour. But, we've been talking a lot about this guy, Vindman. And so is the president, and so have many Republicans, assaulting his character. A guy that won the Purple Heart, a war hero. He risked his life for this country, and people are trying to shoot him down, for lack of a better word, going after his character. So I figured, why not get this guy on the line? He is an Army veteran. He is also a Purple Heart recipient. He is a conservative talk show host out there in L.A. and also a war hero. His name is Brian Suits, and he joins us right now on the line. Brian, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Well, I'm Brian with a Y, and I'm dismayed to find out that you're Brian with an I. I'm doing good. And by the way, to my daughter, I'm just the farter in charge. I'm not war hero.
Well, to me, you are. So, and anybody that serves this country honorably as you did, whether you even get a Purple Heart or not, I have tremendous respect for you. So your opinion matters when it comes to this stuff. Now, I've been saying all along, I think the way that, not all, but some of these Republicans have been going after Vindman's character, the way Laura Ingraham on Fox News went after him the other night, to me is absolutely and positively disgusting. And I think whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you have to call this stuff down. You are a Purple Heart recipient. What do you make of another fellow Army veteran being attacked like this? And I understand you're a conservative, but what do you make of some of these people, including the president, calling him a never-Trumper?
It's disgusting to go after a active duty American hero. I mean, this guy's bio sounds like you wouldn't believe if you submitted this in a script in Hollywood, it would be rejected. If Andrew Sorkin wrote this into The West Wing, they would reject this and say unbelievable. The guy and his brother, their story Their father bringing them here from Ukraine during the former Soviet Union. They choose to serve the country. They go to war, and then they go to war, then they go to war. And Zinman in 2005, just like me, was whacked by an IED. I was hit by a mortar, an IED, and a bullet on three separate dates. And I just need to clarify for your audience. The Purple Heart is actually the easiest award to win in the Army or the Marine Corps. You just stand there. It's really easy. And then you get free parking. The best parking at Best Buy you've ever had. And the deal is, in my case, I've got more than one. You can't park any closer to Best Buy than you already do. You can't go into the 4K TV section and park.
Well, you know what? You're undermining what went on, obviously, and it's funny. But you guys, the heroism that you guys have shown is incredible. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. Thank God you made it through. And that's why I call people like you heroes, because you're put your life first for the country. And you should be, it's so honorable, and people should be talking about that when it comes to people like you and this guy Vidman, who's just doing his job, and he's doing the right thing by speaking the truth, I would imagine. But why there's so many people on the right that are going after his character, and they seem to think because he might be a Democrat, and by the way, we don't know that, or because he might not like Donald Trump, we assume that he's lying.
And that's the part that freaked me out is, first of all, it shouldn't matter because we're supposed to be apolitical when we're in uniform. And the president, the commander-in-chief, went after one of his own troops and called him a never-Trumper. And the Army felt the need to respond. I was equally dismayed yesterday because taskandpurpose.com actually called the Army and said, do you have a reaction to what the president said, calling this guy a never-Trumper? And the Army actually officially responded. And they responded by saying that Lieutenant Colonel Vindman is a 20-year veteran with multiple deployments, and his fidelity and honor are unquestionable and all that. I wish the Army had not responded. But I mean, obviously, I wish the president had not questioned somebody in uniform, because then people like me get to say to him, wait. You had bone spurs. And this guy it's a volunteer military. He came here from another country. He could have run a corner liquor store.
Right.
But he and his brother joined the Army and excelled. And because for an officer below the rank of brigadier general, there's really not a higher post than the Joint Chiefs of Staff or National Security Council Oval Office. I mean, he's got the badge on his right side of his uniform. He has that badge below the button that says, "Back off, I work at the White House." And I'm stunned that this guy would get questioned. He's literally doing his duty. He heard something that he's required to report. And so he reported it, and his duty is being called into question by someone who never, spent a day working for somebody else other than himself.
That is such a good point. You're right. Donald Trump has had yes men around him his whole life. I could not.
Leg humpers, I like to say.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I wanted to talk about ISIS for a second, because with
let's talk about ISIS.
with everything that you've done in your career, I want to talk a little bit about this leader, Baghdadi, who was killed, and this is a good story for the country. It's a good story for the world. With that being said, what do you make of Donald Trump's comments talking about he died like a dog, and then he said he was whimpering, and then he was crying, and then he talks about his book in 2000. The point I'm trying to make, Brian, is that it appears as though he made that press conference more about him than the actual brave men and women who executed the mission.
Shocking, right?
Yeah. I mean, what do you make of it?
At this point, what really kind of sucks is that we're used to it. That was considered a successful press conference, because at least he did mention the people downrange who whacked the guy. And I'm on a psychological level, I didn't like that Obama did not question Osama bin Laden's manhood, because in that part of the world, that's a big deal. He should have been advised to point out that bin Laden died hiding behind women. Okay, because we did that during interrogation.
And that's true. He did.
Said,
You're right.
And so the deal is, Obama didn't do that because that's not Obama style. Trump did it without being told, and he didn't know why it was effective.
Yeah.
I'm glad he made al-Baghdadi, who used to be Abu Dhawan, out to be a coward, because that does play in the Arab world. Also, even if he's sexing up the role of the K-9 or fur missile, as we say, the Kilo 9er fur missile, it's still psychologically in that part of the world, the fact that the Americans will chase you down with a fur missile is a big deal. But the deal is, Trump had no idea. No one briefed him and said, okay, play this up. Or if they did, he went overboard. He made it sound like he was there.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, and also, by the way, I'm talk around the campfire, which is my code word for back channels, is no one heard any whimpering or crying. You know, yesterday we learned that there were 2 kids, not 3.
Right.
And that yes, they were screaming and crying.
Sure,
and
I don't blame them.
Because Daddy's wearing a suicide vest.
Yeah.
You know? And so nobody went uplink and then downlink to D.C. To a skiff in the White House and said that, yes, we confirm al-Baghdadi was both whimpering, comma, and crying. But you know, even if he wasn't, somebody should have advised the president to say that he was.
Right.
But just for the record,
I hear what you're saying.
That he was not officially informed by anybody downrange.
Doesn't surprise me.
Mauritius. This is this is Red Rooster here in on objective Baghdadi. He was crying and whimpering.
Exactly.
No one said that.
Any logical person would agree with you on that one. If you're just joining us, by the way, Brian Suits, he's an Army veteran. He's a Purple Heart recipient. Also a great conservative talk show host out there for KFI Radio in Los Angeles.
Well, you kind of mentioned how Trump had no idea what he was doing, but he did it effectively. That's just ignorance is bliss working out. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Republican myself, and I'm a little troubled by the fact that Trump's legal team is trying to discredit this man because he moved here from Ukraine when he was 3 years old, when he has served the country more than honorably, despite the fact that getting a Purple Heart is the easiest thing you can do in the military. Isn't that troubling to you that they are willing to try to discredit this guy so that his testimony doesn't hold up as true, just to protect the president, if assuming he made a mistake?
Yeah. In fact, I tweeted this out at Dark Secret Place yesterday that might have been the official time and date that I stopped being a Republican. When Republicans or people on TV as Republicans discredited that serving officer, not a retired guy who turned into a Richard Cranium, but a guy currently in uniform. Trying to discredit that guy might be the moment that I officially stopped being a Republican. That was disgusting.
Well, they're trying to turn him into Kevin Costner and No Way Out or something along those lines, and that is just not the case at all. And to me, it's completely ridiculous.
I think we all
and very unbecoming.
I think we all can agree that it is ridiculous and it's disgusting, and I think we all share that same opinion there. All right, Brian, I want to switch topics a little bit. I know you're a big gun rights activist, so I guess I could call you that if that's fair. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I want to get your opinion on this Oklahoma permitless carry law. What do you make of this new law that's in effect?
And full disclosure, I'm a partial owner of a rifle company, the Shield Group Advanced Military Technology in Boise, Idaho, formerly of Rialto, California. We make AR-15s that can be sold in California. And also, I exercise the Second Amendment. I lived in Oklahoma for 6 months during my field artillery officer's basic course, and I was unaware that was not the law. To be honest with you, when your producer, the amazing Jason Stein, when he called me and told me this, I went on the interwebs. I didn't know it wasn't the law, because when I was in Lawton, Oklahoma, I did that anyway, and so I have no problem with it. In all honesty, Texas, now Oklahoma, in the state of Washington, believe it or not, as liberal as Seattle and Washington is, Open carry is legal. Suppressors are legal in Washington. Hollywood calls them silencers, but they're really not. But suppressors are legal in Washington. I don't have any problem with open carry. And obviously, the assumption here is you're not a prior felon, as just like purchasing a firearm.
Right.
So as long as you're not a felon, honestly, and I lived in Reno for 2 years, and I have no problem with law-abiding citizens openly carrying weapons. Remember, in the Old West, the guy who concealed his weapon was the dangerous guy. That's why people openly carried them, and that's why the Wild West was really not that wild.
Let me be very broad here in what I think these, and let's talk about mass shootings here for a second. By the way, coming up here in about 15 minutes, we're going to be speaking with Andrew Pollock. He is a Parkland dad who lost his child, and we all can feel a great amount of sympathy for what this man has had to go through. Now, I think there are several different issues that can help stop these mass shootings from happening. First of all, the president's rhetoric. I wouldn't say that's number one, but I think the hateful rhetoric certainly didn't help in Texas, El Paso. I would also say mental illness is a huge issue. Yes, you're right. We have to make sure that these guns don't get in the hands of the wrong people. There's where red flag laws come in. I think we need logical, though, red flag laws. And I also believe, and you're probably going to disagree with me on this, that some of these assault weapons that are used that were meant and were built to kill people, mass casualties, should not be on the market. What do you say to all those things?
Well, the third thing first, I could cause mass casualties with a bolt-action rifle or a lever-action, Chuck Connors rifleman.
What's the last mass shooting where one of those guns were used?
Well, why would you when you could use something more, slightly more efficient that's cheaper?
Agree. That's why I'm saying let's get them off.
Keep in mind that the mass shootings are a small percentage of firearm homicides every
I understand.
single year. I mean, they're
That's a good point.
Percentage.
I agree. The gun violence in general is horrible. I agree with you 150%.
And it's also concentrated, by the way. People don't know this, but less than 5% of the population commit more than 50% of the firearm homicides. And the mass shootings are middle-class white kids who went off their meds. So you're right about mental health. The second thing, I fully agree with you that the HIPAA laws get in the way of about 80% of the mass shootings over the past 20 years.
Especially in Parkland, right?
The Tech kid, the Santa Barbara kid,
Parkland.
The guy in Aurora, Colorado, lived with his mommy who physically handed him his meds. Then he went to Colorado, and within 6 months, his college kicked him out because he was a psych major, getting a master's, and they kicked him out because he was nuts. And so I agree with you that what we have here in California. The gun violence restraining order, the GVRO, it's based on relatives and coworkers who can call law enforcement and say, "Hey, this guy's nuts." And what we're seeing is that in 80% of these shootings, the middle class white kid is the one who does it. Because let me point out to you, there's two neighborhoods in Los Angeles, Compton. Perhaps you've heard of it, and Sylmar, and they have more real, actual military They have more small arms than Cuba, but there's never mass shootings there. Why? Because they're lower class, economic neighborhoods, and people don't put their kids on Adderall there. At the age of 10. So I mean, if gun access is the issue, then why don't these shootings happen in Compton and Sylmar, Los Angeles? Well, it's because the kids aren't nuts when they go off their meds, like Adam Lanza and Sandy Hook.
And I think that a lot of it has to do with social media bullying. Bullying now doesn't. It's not just inside the day or the hours at school, but when you get home, that you see it all on the internet, and it's much more aggressive. And also,
the point I'm making though is access to guns is clearly not the issue, or else we would be having those in Compton. It clearly is something else, and it's middle class white people putting their boys on.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that assessment. All I'm saying is, God forbid, if I have a child that's in a school, and if I had to choose, I would rather them have a shotgun than an AR-15. That is my opinion. I wish that would never happen to begin with, and I hope it never does. Sadly, these shootings are happening. So let me ask you another question. I think we agree on a lot of what we're saying here today, and I'm happy to hear that. But my question to you, Brian, is this. Why can't logical Democrats and Republicans come together and get some of these things done, particularly the red flag laws. Why is it that Donald Trump sucks up to the NRA? Why is it that so many do that, and we can't just come together, Republicans and Democrats? I'm not saying take all your guns away. I would never say that. And by the way, I don't think the majority of Democrats want that either. Why can't they come together, both parties, and get some things done, man?
Well, because I'm at the epicenter of that here in California, which is the most gun-restrictive state in the country, which is why the company I'm part owner of is in Idaho making California-compliant guns. It's because Democrats don't have a middle ground. Guns equal murder. And Republicans don't have a middle ground. It's that compromise equals no contributions from NRA members. And that is the issue. And I'm not going to I'm not an NRA member because I actually know what they're about. They're about gun manufacturers and not about Second Amendment. Because if they were, they'd have a raft of lawyers here in California. But also I know living here with the governor we have here, who puts his arms around illegal aliens who murder Americans, and then points to the gun as the problem. That is the issue for the Democrats who make policy. They're out there at the, well, why do you need an AR-15? And I've reread the Second Amendment several thousand times. The word need is not in there. It's about citizens being armed. But they don't hear people like me. And then, as they say, the Republicans are afraid of that A- rating from the NRA or B+.
There you go.
Afraid of that.
Yeah, there you go. I agree with you. Well, listen, Brian, I would love to talk about immigration and love to have you on again sometime. And I want to say this again because I think it's very important. You are a hero. Thank you so much for your service to this country. You're the type of people that I want to talk to, and you're the type of person with the opinions that I want to hear when it comes to this inquiry and when it comes to Vindman. Brian, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. Congratulations on all your success with your show there at KFI.
Hey, thanks a lot. Again, to my daughter, I'm just the guy who didn't flush.
Well, you're a hero in my eyes, that's for sure, and I'm sure your daughter feels the same way. Brian, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Guys.
Appreciate it. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to sneak in a few phone calls. And, of course, we have Andrew Pollack, a Parkland dad, coming up next talking about gun control. Take a quick break. We will be back right after this.
Hi, Mark Hale here with today's Energy Store. Look, when it comes to solar energy, you have lots of choices. That's the facts. SunPower by Today's Energy Store has the best solar panels, period. We treat every customer with the utmost respect and offer fair, honest pricing right up front. No sales gimmicks, no bait and switch, no pushy salespeople. The other guys can keep doing that. At Today's Energy Store, you get honest answers and the most efficient solar panels in the industry. Give us a call at 702-558-1500. That's 702-558-1500. Demand better solar.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simply used, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pod sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hey, it's Lee Goldberg of the GCI guys at Realty One Group. Do you know anyone that's looking to buy a home, sell a home, rent, move from California? If so, give them my number, 702-902-3029. All listeners of the Vegas Take get $1,000 in your hand back at closing. Hometown heroes, veteran, military, police, teacher, nurse, I'm giving you $2,000 back. That also goes for hospitality and casino employees. Free use of a moving truck for a day, 6 free months of home security. Call me, 702-902-3029, the GCI guys.
Steve Sanchez, weekdays 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
You know this is up.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. I promised I would try to sneak in a few phone calls here. I'll tell you what, why don't we go to Rick? Is Rick our next caller? Why don't we go to Rick next? Rick, thanks for calling into the Vegas Take. What's on your mind?
Hey, the Purple Heart thing, that really bothers me. I appreciate all these men and women that go and put their life on the line, that they knew that's what they were getting into, and that's part of their job.
Doesn't take away from them being a hero, though, Rick, does it?
From being wounded at battle. Let me give you a little scenario. our boys and our girls that come home in the body bags, you know what type of a medal they receive? A Purple Heart.
And yeah.
Are they more of a hero?
They're all,
than
excuse
someone
me,
who got wounded?
they're all heroes. If you serve this country honorably and you risk your life, whether you die, whether you're hit with shrapnel, or whether you're not hit at all, Rick, they're all heroes. I'm trying to understand, what is your point?
That doesn't make you a hero.
Yes, it does.
That means you got wounded in battle.
Excuse me, you're risking your life for the sake of the United States of America. What the hell are you talking about? You want to?
They're not a hero.
Okay, goodbye, Rick. Goodbye. I'm not going to listen to your garbage. Okay, if you are a man or woman in uniform, you serve honorably, you are a hero. What the hell have you done with your life? 257-5396. Let's go to Morris. Morris, you're next.
Yeah, hi, Brian. First of all, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I normally travel from California to Vegas 4 times a week, and I enjoy your show.
I appreciate that, Morris. Thank you.
And I'm going to applaud you. You're a brave man that you're allowing all these Trumper, they call you, you open up your arm, and you listen to them.
I will, Morris, but can I just say something real quick? I'm not brave. I'll tell you who's brave. The people who serve our country are brave. Yeah.
Because not too many hosts, they will do that.
I appreciate
that. You open up your arm and do it, and I'll tell you what, on the first round, they throw you left and right jab from this, but on the second round, you knock the hell out of all of them with the fact.
Well, I appreciate that, Morris. I'm
saying that.
That's very nice of you to say. I only got 30 seconds, so go ahead, Morris, because I'm up against a break. Go ahead.
I want to make one comment about...
Please, quickly.
In the opening of the show that you said about Laura Ingraham.
Yes.
Which was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
But I'm going to add up one thing.
20 seconds.
That is, since she's got a Botox on her lips, her mouth got filthier, bigger, and she looks uglier. She looks like she's got a blister.
Yeah.
It's got bite by the bee.
Morris, I just comment on her voice, my man. Hey, listen, I appreciate your kind comments, Morris, and we're glad that you listen. Please call in anytime. We really do appreciate that. Coming up next, Parkland dad Andrew Pollock. He lost his child in Parkland. We're going to talk to him about red flag laws. Coming up next, you're listening to the Vegas Take.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Inquiry formalized. Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler speaking just moments after the House vote to begin a formal impeachment inquiry of President Trump.
We must hand this country to our children with its democracy in as good a shape as when it was handed to us. We simply have no choice because no one can be above the law, and we must enforce that.
White House reaction to the historic vote from correspondent Caitlin Collins.
The president has done nothing wrong, and Democrats know it. They go on to say that today's vote has, quote, done nothing more than enshrine unacceptable violations of due process into House rules. They name Speaker Pelosi, Adam Schiff, the House Intelligence Chairman, and essentially say that they've, quote, conducted secret behind closed-door meetings, blocked the administration from participating, and have now voted to authorize a second round of hearings that they still feel leaves them out of the room here.
I'm Mike Moss. Officials say a wildfire burning in Northern California's wine country that forced the evacuation of more than 180,000 people is now 60% contained. But in Southern California, correspondent Omar Jimenez reports winds are hampering the firefighting.
You may be able to hear the wind blowing across my microphone right now. This was some of the strongest winds at least our crews have felt as we stepped outside in the early morning hours. And we know yesterday, just north of where we are here in the Southern California area, we got wind gusts of 74 miles per hour. Those are hurricane speeds.
At least 74 people were killed and 30 more hurt in a fire that engulfed a train in Pakistan this morning after a gas canister that passengers were using to prepare breakfast exploded. Ethiopia says 78 civilians have died in last week's unrest over the government. On Wall Street, the Dow was down 235 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
Traffic sponsored by Dispatch Health. A wreck if you're headed into town, I-15 northbound, right around the state line. Now, a few problems remain on the northbound 95 closer in. First one, auto show off-ramp. Looks like fire crews still on scene here. The next one, northbound, Leighton E. Boulevard off-ramp. Finally, I-15 northbound, crash on the Sahara off-ramp. When you're sick, every minute counts. Go to dispatchhealth.com where high-quality medical care comes to you. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about medical professionals that make house calls. Dispatch Health, covered by most insurance. I'm Bradley J. in the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
So, Chuck, some people have the impression that payday loan companies suck. Why is that?
Because they do. Luckily, Dollar Loan Center's not a payday loan company. We're a short-term installment lender where you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. No other fees, no surprises, and crystal clear contracts.
And how do the paycheck places work?
They cost way more, they don't lend as much, and you normally have to pay it back in 2 weeks no matter what. Look, if you have a payday loan, do yourself a favor, come see us at Dollar Loan Center. Normally we can save you up to half of what you're paying now and give you way longer to pay it back.
That was Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center, where you can get up to $5,000 in minutes, even without a checking account. We have over 50 locations, and our friendly Dollar Loan Center staff are ready to help. You can also apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Data Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce is a challenging time for anybody. But if you're a member of our country's military, those challenges can impair your ability to perform your duty. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand the unique problems that military families face during divorce. And these issues range from parenting to pensions, and they require an understanding of military life and law. We've been working to protect guys in the military for over 25 years, so we know that nothing has the potential to distract you from your mission like a family crisis. And that's where Cordell & Cordell can serve you. Let us protect you on the home front while you protect us on other fronts. Thank you for your service. By the way, unless you're in Missouri or Illinois, I'm not licensed in your state, but that's okay. Our attorneys in your state are.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Las Vegas area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Offices in Henderson and Summerlin.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
The first whole number with an A in it is 1,000. Every odd number in existence has an E.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Imagine crossing a street busy with traffic, against the light.
Watch where you're going!
Wearing a blindfold. Would you do this? Probably not. It's one risk obviously not worth taking. Some risks aren't as obvious, yet could be just as deadly, like the risk for type 2 diabetes. If you're overweight or over 45, if you're not very active, or don't eat as healthy as you should, there's an easy test you can take to find out your risk. It's free, and in less than a minute, you'll know if you're at risk for this deadly disease. Just go to diabetes.org/take-the-test or call 1-800-DIABETES. Because type 2 diabetes is one risk you can't afford to take. Take the diabetes risk test and stop diabetes before it stops you. A message from the American Diabetes Association.
1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, rolling out hour number 2. So glad you could join us. You know, there's certain images that you never forget in your life, right? You didn't have to be there to remember it. For me, of course, it's the 58 people that lost their lives right here in Las Vegas at the Route 91 Festival. And I still remember like it was yesterday. I was in college. I think I was 18 or 19 years old. The Columbine shooting, right? I'll never forget that. And, of course, the Parkland shooting. Every single one of these mass shootings you never forget. especially when you had to live through it yourself and you lost a loved one. And the man we have on the line with us right now, I have so much respect for him. We've had Gutenberg on the show before as well. I have so much respect for these brave parents. This man wrote a book called Why Meadow Died. Of course, he lost his child, Meadow, in the Parkland shooting. He is a Parkland dad, and he published this book with new details about how the shooter's red flags, could have saved lives by, not allowing him to have a gun. So many other things to talk about with this gentleman. And Andrew Pollack joins us right now on the line. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Sure. I mean,
happy to be on.
I appreciate that. I have so many questions to ask you in a short period of time. So I hate to go back to that fateful day, and I hate to have you describe the pain that you've had to go through. But I would imagine that's a day that, obviously you will never forget. So to give some of our listeners just a little bit of background, what do you remember most about that day, that fateful day?
Well, just thinking how it couldn't be me, or that it couldn't be my daughter that was murdered in the school. Because everyone, in reality, when you think about it, everyone thinks that it can't happen to them. And if you asked every parent that kid was murdered in a school, their child, they would say the same thing. They just think it couldn't happen, and then it happens. And it's a pain that you just live with it every day. It's just like a slow torture. That's what I call it. Every day you just have it. It's not just that day that I think of it. It's really every day, and you just got to learn to suck it up and move forward and just live with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
And I'm so sorry you have to live with that every day. Let me ask you this question. We saw it in the Connecticut school shooting where, we heard people talking tough on gun laws, and then nothing happens. We heard it here in Las Vegas when 58 people lost their lives. Nothing really happened except for bump stocks. We heard it in Parkland after the Parkland shooting. Everyone talking tough on gun control, at least most people did. It just seems like nothing has been done. And my question to you is why? I know you're doing everything you can. I know those very, very brave students who have now graduated, the David Hoggs of the world, are so brave, and they're doing everything they can in memory of those who lost their lives. But what would you say to Republicans? Why? Why has nothing, or at least not enough, been done to prevent these sorts of shootings from happening again?
Okay, now I got to set you straight because you're a little misinformed of what happened in Florida. And I'm okay to tell you. I hope you could take some criticism.
Absolutely. No, I want to hear from you. Go ahead.
We love criticism.
Okay, so first of all, Florida, run by Republicans, did more for gun control than any other state in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Let me explain that to you. So after the shooting, but within 3 weeks after the shooting, Governor Scott approached me, a Republican. The House controlled by Republicans came to my house. The reps, I meant, when I say the House reps of Florida, came to my house and they put a bill together, and they spoke to me about it. And I said I would help them get this bill passed. And in that bill was gun control. They raised the age to purchase a rifle from 18 to 21. Okay, no other state has done it, and this state is run by Republicans. And while I was up in Tallahassee getting this gun bill passed, which if I wrote it, I might not have been. I wouldn't have been involved. I wouldn't have put the gun bills in it so much. But in life, you have to learn to give to get. And me being a conservative, I was okay raising the age. It wasn't the greatest thing, but we raised the age to 21 because there was other things in that bill that meant a lot to me for school safety.
Mm-hmm.
And also we put red flag laws into place in Florida after this, and this is all run by Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we worked on in Tallahassee. And do you know where March for Our Lives were and all those kids that you're talking about?
Tell me.
They were nowhere to be seen when we got this bill passed.
Why?
They were in Washington, D.C. organizing a march to ban all guns and to blame the president for the shooting. That's what was going on in Florida that the media doesn't like to focus on, but Republicans got more gun control than any Democrat done in the whole country.
Well, let me be
and
clear.
That was done in Florida.
And Andrew, I'm glad you brought that to our attention. Let me be clear here. I am really happy to hear that that was done in Florida. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was unaware of that. All I
and
know.
Another thing
go ahead.
I want to tell you another thing that was accomplished that you won't know about either. So in my book, and what I focused on was looking into the facts of how my daughter could get murdered in the school and what led up to it. And what I found out was that everybody knew that the shooter was an evil kid, okay? He was evil.
Mm-hmm.
He dreamt of killing. He wanted to kill people. He trespassed at the school before he threatened to shoot the school up. He punched his mother's teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
The sheriff's department was at his house over 40 times on call.
I talk about that all the time. Yep.
And he was never arrested.
Which is ridiculous.
So why he was never arrested is because of these leftist policies that were in place, okay, that they wanted to end the school to prison pipeline, okay? So there has to be a fine line. So this kid, if he would have been arrested or Baker acted where he was mentally ill, if he would have went and been involuntarily committed, that would have been on his background, and he never would have been able to purchase a rifle.
Right.
So when I explained to you all these facts of what's going on, the same shooting in Dayton, Ohio, was the same type of killer.
Mm-hmm.
He threatened to kill kids, right, when he was in high school.
Yeah,
he had a rape list.
He had a kill list.
And he was never arrested. So the problem I have with Democrats is they don't look at they don't have solutions, okay? If a kid wants to threaten to shoot the school up, if we arrest them, they'll have a background, and they wouldn't be able to purchase a rifle. And that's what a lot of these Democrats refuse to look at, these policies that are in place of ending the school to prison pipeline. If we take these threats seriously, they wouldn't be able to purchase a rifle, and these mass shootings, a lot of them wouldn't happen because these people would have backgrounds. Background checks only work if people are arrested when they commit crimes. And that's what's in my book, because a lot of these schools throughout the country have policies in place that don't arrest violent kids, or they don't help the mentally ill that are emotionally disturbed. They don't put this stuff on their backgrounds, and that's the problem. And that allows them to be able to go buy a rifle and to be able to commit these mass shootings.
Andrew,
so there's a lot of issues involved when it comes to these mass shootings.
Oh, absolutely, Andrew.
Right.
I wouldn't deny that, Andrew. Let me say this. So I think there's several really important issues in regards to these shootings, and I talk about it all the time. And you're absolutely right. These red flag laws need to be put in place. There is no question about that. But I would disagree with you on this. I don't think that the majority of Democrats have no ideas. Maybe you disagree with their ideas, and we can talk about that. I wouldn't say they don't have any ideas, but I would say mental illness is a big part of it. I agree with you. These red flag laws need to be put in place. That kid should have never been able to put his hands on a weapon. And so
he should have been in prison,
yeah,
in my opinion, for what he did.
Yeah,
up until that point.
Yeah,
Andrew, do you talk about Scott Peterson at all in your book? And if so, can you share those thoughts about him with us, please?
Well, yeah, sure. Peterson. Well, it wasn't just the country doesn't know. It really wasn't just. I was just up in Tallahassee, if you could imagine, working with the governor, keeping the sheriff from getting reinstated. Okay, he had about 10 deputies. It was systematic failure that day that let my daughter get murdered. It wasn't just Peterson. Peterson is the school resource officer that worked at the school. He got within 9 feet of the door where the shooting was going on, and the murderer was still on the first floor, and he didn't go in the building. He just, froze and just was a coward, and he didn't go in. And while the shooter was on the first floor, my daughter was on the third floor. So if he would have went in, most likely my daughter would everyone on that third floor would have lived.
I don't doubt it.
Most of these people are cowards. And then not only he failed, there was about another 6 or 7 deputies that pulled up when the shots were still going off, and they didn't go in the building either. So it was a big failure that day. Yeah, and he had a monitor that worked at the school. He watched the killer come in with a rifle bag. His name was Andrew Medina.
Right.
And then he had another monitor, if you could believe it, was inside the building where my daughter got murdered.
Oh my God.
He went and hid in the second floor. He went on in the closet.
That's just embarrassing.
And I could understand him hiding because he wasn't armed.
Right.
But he had a radio and a phone with him in the closet on the second floor when he knew that the shooter was on the first floor. And he didn't warn anybody. He listened over the loudspeaker while he was in the second floor that they told the students to evacuate because they thought there was a fire. So rather than he saved himself, he didn't want to speak up in the closet.
If you had a chance to speak with him face to face, what would you say to him right now?
Well, I did.
What did you say?
He's just a piece of garbage. He's a 50-year-old man, and he's a disgrace. But there's a bunch of them, not just him that failed all those kids that day. And I've been on a crusade of accountability, of holding them all accountable.
Good.
Last week it was the sheriff. They wanted to reinstate him, and we thank God that, here we go again with the Republicans. Thank God the Republicans in Florida voted not to reinstate him. If it was up to the Democrats, they would have reinstated this failed sheriff just to give the governor a blow.
Andrew, let me ask you this, because, I'm so glad that you and fellow Republicans were able to get together and put some things on the books. I think that is amazing, and I'm so glad you did that. But why is it that it has to take a tragedy like this where you lose your child for politicians to put these types of things on the books? I'm not blaming Republicans or Democrats now. I'm just speaking in general terms. I'm glad you did that in Florida, but for the rest of the country, we don't have certain types of laws like the ones you were able to put on the books in place. Why is it that it takes these horrible tragedies to do something? That's what frustrates me.
Well, because I don't think you got to give to get. You know what I'm saying? Like we did in Florida. Like I said, if I wrote the bill, I might not have put in the 21, raising the age to 21. But we had to get the bill passed because there was a lot of other good things in the bill. So it's like a marriage. You know what I mean? When people could sit at a table and work certain things out that they don't agree on, it just seems like it's so divided, the country.
It is.
It's hard to work, it's hard. The left and the right just can't get a balance.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of the, like I say, with a lot of the Democrats that I've been dealing with, they don't look into these solutions. They're only looking into ban. They want background checks on ammunition. They want background checks only work if you arrest criminals. So with this restorative justice policies in place throughout the country, if we're not arresting people when they're violent, the background checks don't work. So, they have to give to get, and I think that it's just so divided that it's kind of tough to get things done. But, like I said, Florida, and another thing we got done that you guys probably don't know about, the president, I met with the president, and he put a federal school safety commission together with his cabinet secretaries, and he ended, a lot of these policies of not arresting kids started with the Obama administration.
I believe that.
To end the school-to-prison pipeline. And the president ended it. No one knows this. He put this commission together, and he ended it because it creates a chaotic, unsafe environment in different school districts. So he ended it, but just because the president ended it, it doesn't help parents at a local level. And that's what I found out, and that's why I urge parents to get involved locally because, at a federal level, no one, it doesn't help you. You got to do it at your own school and at a local level. That's why local government is so important.
So let's talk about the president here for a second. And by the way, I'm glad that the president put that into play because I'm with you on this. But after the shooting here in Las Vegas, he talked about gun control. He talked about red flag laws. He talked about background checks. He talked about everything, really. And nothing was done. Am I putting 100% blame on the president? No. But I will say this, and this is my perspective, Andrew, and I want to get your opinion on this. You know, he talks tough when it comes to the Texas El Paso shooting. Again, he talked about gun control. He talked about red flag laws, the things you're talking about. He talked about background checks. And then he meets with the head of the NRA. And then after the NRA, he doesn't want to talk about any of those issues, and he's just talked about mental illness, which, by the way, I think needs to be addressed. There's no question, right? But, Andrew, in my personal opinion, and you tell me if you disagree, I do think the NRA is in some of the pockets of some of these politicians, and I do think they are influential, and I don't think they're helping the cause here. What we all want is for never to have one of these shootings happen again, and sure. I just don't think the NRA is helping, and I think they are influencing some of our politicians, including the president. What do you say to that?
Well, what I did, we did it in the state level. We didn't need the president. You know what I mean? We did it with the senators and with the House, the state reps.
Right.
So I would say that if every state individually to look for the president to fix a certain state, you don't really need that. You know, we have it in Florida without the president doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be up to the local. What I experienced, it was everything local in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I want to touch on red flags because not everyone understands the red flag laws. Like I happen to get an education on it. So I don't think the red flag, you know, there's laws in place. And I don't think the red flag, think about when I tell you this, you tell me if it makes sense. So
okay.
A red flag is, it gives the police the ability to take away the weapons of someone that's a danger to themselves or to others, right?
Sure.
So if someone's so much of a danger that they're going to kill themselves
mm-hmm.
or kill other people, why stop at just taking their guns if they're that much?
Well,
of a
put them in the
danger?
hospital. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
I agree.
What I'm saying.
I agree. Yeah.
So they should be committed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cruz should have been. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Cruz should have been committed. I could not agree with you more. And this is where I disagree with Democrats. We need to be tougher on these red flag laws. If somebody texts their spouse and says, "I'm going to kill you tonight," not only should they be arrested, they should be put in an institution, for Christ's sake, and put a ban on them. No, listen.
At least if it's a pattern of behavior like it was, clearly like it was with this student. I have a question for you. I'm going to go back to Scott Peterson here. Was he the only one that was actually armed in the school that day?
No, in the school, yes, correct. He was the only one. He could have saved the whole third floor. He went. We know by video he went up. He went to 9 feet from the door to go in. He was driven to the door, and when he was 9 feet from the door, he heard the shots inside that killed two of the coaches, Aaron Fife and Coach Hickson. And then he retreated, and he went and hid behind a wall for another 40 minutes. And then, deputies pulled up, and then there was other deputies that were armed
mm-hmm.
that could have went in. They took a perimeter, and we know from Columbine that policy has changed. You're supposed to rush the building. So, like about 7 other armed deputies hid outside their car, behind their cars, and then that was the sheriff's department, and then the police department from the city, Coral Springs, came and charged the building, but it was too late by then for everyone in the building.
Well, I hope
the sheriff's department even let the killer escape. Why they had a perimeter around the building? That's how unorganized they were.
Andrew, we only got about a minute to go here, and I'm so appreciative that you were able to take some time to join us, and I'm so sorry for your loss and the pain that you and your family have to go through. But before I let you go, can you talk to me a little bit more about your book? How can people find your book and buy your book? Because I think it's really important for people to read what you have to say.
Oh, thank you. The book I wrote to honor my daughter. She would want everyone to know the facts and the policies in place and the people who failed. So the book is called Why Meadow Died, and it's actually, I call it a manual now that every parent and grandparent should read it and see what happened and see if it's going on in their child's school, because these policies are throughout the whole country, and it just creates an unsafe environment. One thing I would want parents to know is they label these kids, like say someone's emotionally disturbed or mentally ill, they'll label these kids special needs, which there should be they should differentiate special needs from kids that are autistic or dyslexic and nonviolent.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids we have no problems mainstreaming.
Right.
What they do in these public schools they'll mainstream a kid with oppositional defiant disorder, or they're just mentally disturbed and violent, and they label those kids special needs also. So between that and the lax discipline policies, it's just created this unsafe environment in the schools.
And I know,
and I lay it out for all these parents in my book.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And I know that you talk about this in your book, and it's a must-read, and I hope people can get out and get this book. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. People like you need to be heard. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I hope we can discuss this again sometime, because I think it's a very good conversation. Andrew, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate
thanks
that.
a lot, Andrew.
There you go, Andrew Pollock, a Parkland dad. Wow, that was some really powerful stuff. Some stuff I disagree with him on, but I agree with a lot of what he said as well. We'll take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hi, it's Sam.
Hey, it's Ash, and we're Sam and Ash, your personal injury attorneys.
If you've been injured in an accident, don't rely on your insurance agent to help you.
Your agent and claims adjuster are not going to get you the treatment or compensation that you deserve for your injuries.
That's what we do. We craft an effective plan of action to get you the help you need.
Also, you deserve to be heard, and most of all, you deserve what's right.
So, give us a call 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000 or visit samandash.com. Sam and Ash.
What's right?
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in Saturday at 4 p.m. for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k. Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday afternoons at 4 on KDWN 101.5 FM and 720 AM.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food. We're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
720 on the AM, 101.5 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
Special report impeachment inquiry formalized. Shortly after the House vote, House Republican Whip Steve Scalise ripped into the Speaker and Democrats.
And when we talk about the vote, I think it's important to note, when you see that not only did every single Republican reject the Soviet-style impeachment process, but we were even joined by Democrats who couldn't stand it anymore.
Two Democrats, Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey and Colin Peterson of Minnesota, split with their colleagues to vote against the resolution. Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the inquiry will be fair and open.
It provides the President and his counsel opportunities to participate, including presenting his case, submitting requests for testimony, attending hearings, raising objections to testimony given, cross-examining witnesses, and more.
Minority Leader McCarthy says Democrats are trying to impeach the president because they are scared that they can't defeat him at the ballot box. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
New crashes to watch for. Traffic sponsored by Dispatch Health. And checking in with a wreck on the southbound I-15 near Owens, tying up the center lane. You got the stop and go back from Lake Mead Boulevard. 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at Stephanie. Another collision for you. And then one outside of town, I-15 northbound. This is right around the state line. When you're sick, every minute counts. Go to dispatchhealth.com, where high-quality medical care comes to you. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about medical professionals that make house calls. Dispatch Health, covered by most insurance. I'm Bradley J. in the KDON Traffic Center.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM, 1015 FM, KDWN every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12:30 p.m.
Are you ready for a whole new way of doing business? The Human Resources Game Changer is here. Hello, friends. Jim Nance letting you know that Insperity has put down roots in Las Vegas, bringing you a different kind of HR service. Human resource expertise, employee benefits, HR software. Insperity will redefine everything you thought you knew about an HR company. Get to know Insperity Vegas, because finally the HR Game Changer is here. Visit Insperity.com to find out more.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDON.
This is Jesse's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
As a nurse, not making it to work was not an option. But driving through the snow with my wiper blades struggling, I just didn't feel safe. So I pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts, and before I knew it, an employee was offering to install the wiper blades on my car. I got to stay out of the snow for a moment, and I still made it to work on time.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
Kiss Barack Obama's
All right, welcome back. I love that soundbite.
I like that a lot.
Kiss Barack Obama's. So funny. Anyway, welcome back. It's the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be catching up with a man by the name of Mattress Mac. He's been on our show before. He lost basically a $24 million swing. I think he bet over $12 million in bets on Houston yesterday. So Mattress Mac will be joining us here in just a few minutes. But joining us in studio right now, wearing his Vegas Golden Knights shirt proudly as they are playing tonight.
Yes, they
at
are.
T-Mobile, it is KDWN's very own John Schaefer. John, what's going on?
Well, Nevada school officials have announced academic proficiency scores were below the national average in reading and math among elementary and middle school students. The 2019 National Assessment of Educational Progress showed scores were mostly stagnant since the last assessment in 2017. It's the fourth consecutive year Nevada has had the lowest average composite score in the nation.
One word, parents, okay? Parenting. Make sure your kids take school seriously. And then we go on down to teachers and so on and so forth. But I think it starts with the parents. That's just my opinion. JD, I know you're yawning over there. Are you bored? Are you bored with this story? What's going on?
Parenting, the mishandling of the budget. There's a number of things that are causing this, in my opinion.
Or the superintendent of schools buying a bike off of taxpayer money.
Getting paid $350,000 a year, spending $4.4 billion frivolously. And you could go on and on.
A lot of issues there, yeah.
Nevada casinos took in nearly $1.06 billion in winnings last month, a high for 2019 and a record for the month of September, and a key index of state fiscal health. The gaming win is attributed to an increase in slot machine play and results from Las Vegas Strip and Clark County casinos. A 6.8% increase in the monthly figure compared with the same month a year ago was the fourth straight increase in the year-to-year comparison.
It's also attributed to 39-year-old white, bald radio host sticking $100 bills in slot machines.
That is absolutely not true at all. Stop giving yourself credit. It's because the parking is now gone, and sports betting is legalized nationally, and so it's becoming less taboo, and everyone wants to do it, and they want to do it in Vegas.
You're right. Nothing to do with degenerates like me. You're right.
MGM Resorts International looking to sell its flagship resort on the Las Vegas Strip, the MGM Grand. The company says it wants to find the same kind of deal it did when it sold the Bellagio earlier this year. CEO Jim Murin told investors a similar real estate deal would likely be announced before the end of the year. Under the terms of the Bellagio deal, MGM maintains a 5% equity stake in the property. They pay $245 million annually in rent, and they continue to maintain and operate the resort.
Well, after MGM Grand Properties decided to sue some of the victims in the October 1 shooting, I decided to not root for them when it comes to anything, and I hope they file for bankruptcy.
$245 million in rent?
Yeah, a year for the Bellagio.
That's insane.
Officials in Utah and the community say they've received more than a few complaints over a family's Halloween display that includes a guillotine chopping off the heads of baby dolls. However, an attorney for Brigham City said the display isn't a public nuisance under the city code, even though it's distasteful to some. In addition to the guillotine, the lawn display also includes a bloody nurse standing over a baby incubator containing angry-looking babies and baby parts. Julie Bodden said her family's annual Halloween displays are just intended to be spooky and fun, but their neighbor Claudia Perry said she objects to the display, saying it's too much. In Perry's words, how far are they going to go? And she wondered where they were going to stop.
Well, speaking of too much, I'll be going to see Marilyn Manson tonight at the Pearl at the Palms, so I would imagine he might be a little bit too much on a Halloween night, but we'll see how that goes.
You know, it sounds like a public haunted house to me. I think their code is wrong.
All right, Mr. Schaefer, thank you so much for coming in as always, sir. We will see you tomorrow bright and early.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, John.
All right, so speaking of sports books, we mentioned that earlier. There are some sports books that are celebrating today. Well, a man by the name of Mattress Mac, he's been on this show before. He bet upwards of $12 for the Houston Astros to win the World Series. Unfortunately for him, as you know, they did not win last night, but he is nice enough to come on right now with us. Mattress Mac, are you feeling okay this morning? Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks a lot, Mac.
Brian, I'm feeling great. My head may be a little bit bloody, but it's certainly not foul.
Okay, so to the average person, Mattress Mac, and I'm not happy, by the way. I was rooting for you to win, by the way. What does it feel like to lose $12 million on a baseball game?
You know, it's such a long season, and I've been promoting this win it all, get it all, Tempur-Pedic mattress promotion that it was a gut punch. Obviously, Tuesday night when we lost and Wednesday night when the Astros lost, but at the same time, it was a great ride and met a lot of great people and made a lot of customers happy. So I'm disappointed for the Astros. I'm disappointed for the customers that would have got their money back, but I have no regrets about doing the promotion. I love the Houston Astros, and I would do it again in the New York Minute.
Okay, so how many mattresses would you have to sell in order to regain your losses? That's my question.
Thousands.
Honestly, Mattress Mac, did you hedge at all to any degree on the Washington Nationals or not?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely not. I bet with my heart, not with my wallet.
Wow, I like that. You got some guts. All right, so it's my understanding, Mattress Mac, that you were in Las Vegas earlier this week, and you pounded some more bets on the Houston Astros. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I bet a lot. Circle was very good. They took a lot of action, and Mgm took a couple bets, although I didn't get one yesterday at their Boulder Lodge property, Biloxi. And I think on the Tuesday night game, I bet $1,200,000, lost that. And then last night, I bet probably about $1 million, lost that.
That'll happen.
But it was all part of the promotion, and I'm 100% Astros fan. Well, we're disappointed we didn't win, but certainly proud of the team that won 106 games, and one of the 4 teams in MLB history that won 100 games 3 years in a row.
So as you know, and it's great that you're able to bet in Mississippi. They just legalized sports betting this year. Texas does not have legalized sports betting. If Texas did have legalized sports betting, would you have bet even more on the Astros in the state of Texas?
Yeah, but Texas will probably not have legalized sports betting in my lifetime, so that's kind of a non-starter. I like coming to Vegas. It's a great city. Lots of great sports books there. But the people at the Scarlet Pearl Casino in Biloxi, Mississippi, took about over $6 million in action, including another $500,000 yesterday.
So when you walk into Circa Casino, for example, and you say you put down a $1.2 million bet, how are you able to get that kind of cash to walk into because to the average person, they're not going to make that kind of money their entire lifetime. Where do you get that kind of cash? You just walk into a bank and just take out $1.2 million in Benjis?
Well, first, banks don't have that kind of money. You just wire transfer.
Right.
So there's really no cash transactions. The people in Mississippi put a bunch of cash in a briefcase made it look like I carried it in, but of course I'm not going to carry it. I don't carry more than $50, but wire transfer will get it anywhere in a hurry.
So the Houston Rockets just started their season a couple weeks ago. They picked up Russell Westbrook in the offseason. They're about 9-1 at this point to win the NBA championship. Have you placed any futures wagers on the Houston Rockets, and do you intend to?
You know, I'm not a Rocket sponsor, so I can't run this promotion if I'm not a sponsor. So the answer would be no. But I did last year do a few bets on the Rockets early on. They weren't nearly as high as these were, but
yeah,
I'm a huge Houston guy, and I will certainly support the Rockets. And looking at the promotion was a lot of fun, created a lot of excitement, and people had a good time with it. And MLB should thank the promotion because a lot of people who weren't baseball fans became baseball fans watching the Astros. Sorry it had to end that way yesterday, but they gave it a hell of a run.
All right, Mattress Mac, this will be my last question for you. Since the Washington Nationals cost you arguably a total of around $23, $24 million, if you had a chance to talk to the Washington Nationals fans, to the ball club, to the manager, and to all the players right now that may have cost you, like I said, around $24 billion, what would you say to them today?
I would say, first of all, when I was up there for the 3 games in Washington, the fans and the organization there couldn't have been nicer. A lot of people recognized me, and I was taking pictures all the time in D.C. They got me a security guard to control the line of people taking pictures from Houston coming down to see me. They were great, and I'd say congratulations. And I'm just wondering why the hometown kid from Houston, Ron Don, had to do so well against his home team. But congrats to all the Nats people. They're great people. I gave a Nats fan 2 tickets last night to get in the game and flew in with his son, especially for Game 7. So congrats, job well done is all I got to say.
Well, Mattress Mac, you are a class act. I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm sorry your Houston Astros did not win, but the story certainly is incredible.
And what you've done for sports betting is huge.
Absolutely.
The exposure that you've given sports betting in a positive way is outstanding, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Let me say this. You know, all this time, I know millions of people, nobody criticizes sports betting. Everything was legal. I never bet offshore. I don't bet with bookies. It was legal sports betting. So I think that all these sports organizations like MLB and NFL, they need to embrace it more because it adds a lot of excitement to the games, and you know, it's just another way to build a market.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Mattress Mac, really appreciate you taking some time to join us. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you out again sometime when you make another $12 million wager. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time.
You have a great day.
Hey,
All right.
Thanks a lot, Mattress Mac.
There you go. Mattress Mac sounded like he was on an Obama phone, but that's fine. Still able to understand most of what he said, not all.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't a guy who just bet $20 million on a game sound like he's on a $5 phone?
Pretty outrageous and ridiculous. I cannot believe the good mood that he is in. I'd be suicidal if I lost $12 million. But, hey, we appreciate Mattress Mac taking some time to join us. And why don't we take a quick break? And then, JD, I want to talk to you a little bit about the World Series that took place last night in Game 7. Let's take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Are you or a loved one struggling to hear despite using hearing aids? It might be time to ask a doctor about cochlear implants.
My cochlear implant gave me access to the sounds that I've been missing. Back to being me, and I'm unstoppable.
Cochlear implants are routinely covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans for those who meet the health plan criteria. Ready to be unstoppable? Call 833-700-HERE to learn more and find a doctor near you. Again, that's 833-700-HEAR.
Sponsored by Cochlear.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
Hey guys, hear what the kids are saying about Infinity, the Math Institute.
Going to Infinity is a lot different than school because the faculty and staff in Infinity are a lot more one-to-one on you. They don't just care about getting the work done. They're about trying to change your life.
So before I went to Infinity, I had an F. I now have a B+, so it really helped me a lot with math. I like going to school now because it's easier for me. It's like not a struggle.
Infinity is a place where you learn new techniques, not only for math, but for life as well. It's also a great place to meet new people and make a lot of different friends who share the same qualities as you, and you just get a whole new experience.
It's different because if they have like questions or problems, you can talk to someone if you need that help.
Call Infinity, the Math Institute at 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. Infinity, the Math Institute. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do.
Funny, Johnny started to destroy these transitions.
What?
I said Johnny started to destroy these transitions. He's getting really good at this stuff.
In case you were wondering what show this is, that is the voice of J.D. Sharp. I am Brian Shapiro. Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. And we were talking a little bit about, of course, the World Series last night. Mattress Mac, we appreciate him joining us. Losing out on basically a $24 million swing. It's just unbelievable. He was in pretty good spirits considering. That's a man that's going to live to 120. When you lose $24 million and you're in as good a spirits as he is in, nothing can faze you. That's all I'm going to say.
Or you have a net worth of $1 billion, and this,
that helps
and this is 0.02% of your net worth.
Well, that also helps as well. I was angry losing $100 last night. I bet the under on the game, which was 7.5. But let's talk a little World Series. Obviously, this was a fantastic series. If you told me that it would have gone 7, I wouldn't have been surprised. But the fact that the road team seemed to do so well was a little strange yesterday. All right, let me start with this. So the Houston Astros get off to an early lead, right? They're up 2-0. They seem to be in control. But Scherzer is such a competitor. He never lost his cool. It never appeared that he was in trouble. He seemed to get better as the game went on.
He also seemed to get louder as he was throwing the pitches.
Yeah.
You could hear him just screaming every time he threw a pitch.
And he did a great job in keeping his team close. And the other side of things, Greinke pitched a very good game. And I thought it was mismanaged to an extent. You don't think Greinke pitched well?
Brian, Greinke pitched one of the best games you will ever see. He had one mistake to Anthony Rendon. It ended up being a home run. And then he walked the guy.
Why did he get pulled so early?
Because A.J. Hinch likes to ride the hot hand. And whenever something goes even remotely wrong, he freaks out and he switches pitchers immediately. The problem is he switched to the wrong pitcher.
Why did Cole not get in there?
Here it's possible that the Garrett Cole situation is odd because after the game, he's wearing a Scott Boras hat. He says, "I'm no longer a member of the Houston Astros organization." He was angry because he's never won a championship before. He was angry that he didn't get a pitch in that game. But I think he was on 2 days rest.
He said that after the game?
He did, yeah. Yeah, he announced that, or he had an interview, and that he stated that specifically. And wow. I didn't ask Mattress Mac about that because I'm sure Mac's very, very unhappy about it. But yeah, Cole
I didn't know he said that.
Wearing a Scott Boras hat said, "I am no longer a member of the Houston Astros organization. I'm no longer an employee of the organization," because he's a free agent. He's going to get paid massive.
Yeah. Do you think that's part of the reason that they didn't put him in there?
I honestly don't think that's part of the reason why they didn't put him in there, because had Garrett Cole pitched a couple of innings, and I honestly, I watched Cole. He was going to get hit. The thing about the Nationals is they're really good at high fastballs. This is kind of a baseball technicality. But Cole, what makes Cole so good is he has this fastball. It's about 99 miles an hour, but it rises up in the strike zone. And there's about 3 guys in the Nationals that hit that really, really well. The Yankees had no chance against that particular pitch, but the Nationals did. So I think that he thought that the Nationals were better fastball pitchers than curveball pitchers, and Will Harris went in there and threw a meatball, and then Ryan Presley got rocked. And, I mean, it should have been Greinke, Cole, Osuna, or a variation of the 3. But the truth is, Greinke should have never been taken out. He was at 80 pitches. He had 7 balls that were hit directly to him as a pitcher that he fielded cleanly and threw out the runner within 3 to 4 seconds. I mean, Greinke played an unbelievable game. I mean, there's no reason that Greinke, and I made a tweet about this, but Greinke should have pitched the entire game, or at least to the 8th inning, or at least until he had 102 pitches.
Okay, so we agree on that. The game was mismanaged.
Absolutely.
And I'll also, to get to the actual players last night, I thought in this series, or particularly the last couple games, I thought Altuve, who is your star, who is so good at getting his bat on the ball in every situation, I thought he had a couple key strikeouts in the last couple games that really cost his team, particularly a situation where there were runners at second and third with 1 out, and not only did he not even get a runner in, but he struck out.
And you're talking this in Game 6.
I'm talking Game 6. I think that changed the complexion of that game. And then yesterday he had some key at-bats as well where he didn't perform to his capability. He is one of the best hitters in all of Major League Baseball. I thought he was a bit disappointing, especially in the latter games in this series. Bregman is a beast. We all know how great of a hitter he is. But again, he did not, do what he needed to do in these last few games.
I'll tell you what, Bregman actually had 3 home runs and 8 RBIs, and he would have been the MVP if
they won. But yesterday,
but what about the first? What about the first hit of the game, when Trey Turner hit that screamer, and Bregman stopped the triple from happening?
It was incredible.
That was a great play.
That was incredible. But I'm talking on the offensive. I'm talking offensively.
I mean, I can't give Bregman no credit offensively. Again, he had 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Do you think that the Washington Nationals are the better baseball team?
Absolutely.
Why?
They're deeper and they have better starters. In my opinion, they have better starters. I think the Astros feasted on questionable talent. On questionable competition.
See, but to
all year
me,
long.
the real story of this game, and I'm just speaking from a logical perspective, it's the Houston Astros bullpen. They blew the game.
I spoke negatively about them a couple days ago.
Yes, and you said that Washington was going to win this game. You also said you liked the over, so you were right on both accounts. But let's be honest here. The Nationals bullpen, we all know Scherzer's a beast, right? But when Scherzer left the game, Washington kept them at 2 runs. The bullpen did their job.
It wasn't the bullpen. What they did was they put Patrick Corbin in the game. Patrick Corbin is arguably, and the Astros are terrible against left-handed pitchers. Patrick Corbin is left-handed pitcher, but Patrick Corbin has probably the best slider in Major League Baseball, and a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
When I say bullpen, what I mean is the relief.
Dave Martinez did a much better job than A.J. Hinch, and that was the difference in this game. When he put in Corbin, and honestly, I made some good money on this because I've had national futures for months and months, but I put a small hedge on the Astros, and I think they were plus 600 because I just had to. And I did that because I thought Daniel Hudson was coming in the game, but Patrick Corbin pitched that 8th inning and pitched it well. But the reason that Altuve was unable to hit the ball as effectively as he did the games before is because the Nationals are really good at pitching low. And Altuve, it cannot hit.
Not a good low ball hitter.
He cannot hit low pitches. And Scherzer did that to him consistently, and so did Patrick Corbin. And that's why he was unable.
I thought the scouting report was very good.
It was outstanding.
They seem to pitch differently to every batter. And that's what you should do. As a professional, you need to know what the hitter's weaknesses are and where you can't put the ball. And I think in a lot of situations, they were throwing first pitch fastballs down the heart of the plate, and some of these Astros hitters were just destroying the baseball. They weren't doing that yesterday. They were very careful in their approach.
They had a lot of they made contact on Scherzer in the 3rd inning at 107 miles an hour average exit velocity, which means they just smashed the ball off him, but it didn't go anywhere. A lot of line outs. There was a couple. There was a play where there was 2 on, and I think Yordan Alvarez was up the bat. It was the top of the 4th inning, or bottom of the 4th inning, and there was 1 out, and Yordan was about 5 feet away from hitting a home run, dead center. Any other ballpark, it's a home run. So you had situations. It's not that they weren't hitting the ball. It's just that they were hitting the ball directly towards the Nationals batters, the Nationals fielders, and they fielded the ball very effectively. And I think that Anthony Rendon played.
He's a beast.
He's got a huge arm at third base. He just kills the
He's got
ball.
a pretty big bat, too.
He's got a I mean, he's
Yeah.
to me he's the most valuable. He should have been MVP of the series in my opinion.
was
just
fantastic.
because of his fielding. And Soto actually caught that long almost home run by Yordan Alvarez, and I thought he was hurt at that point. But Rendon just played unbelievable.
What did you think was the changing of? How should I put this? The changing
The guard?
the guard in this series. Because to me, it was Game 6 when Altuve was at the plate with runners at second and third with one out, and he struck out. That to me, that changed the entire complexion of everything.
You know, that was definitely a big deal. I think that you had Strasburg at that point. Verlander has not been good in the postseason.
Verlander just cannot
for
win.
a long time. That's
It's Kate Upton's fault.
That's probably it might be, but that's probably not going to change. I would say that it was when you took Zach Greinke out in Game 7. I think that was the changing
You
of
think
the
that
guard.
was it?
I was watching that game, Brian. I was thinking to myself, when Greinke was in, I was
surprised too.
I was waiting. I mean, the live line on the Nationals was plus 800 in the top of the 6th. And I was just waiting I was just hoping for one, and they were down 2-0 at this point. I was hoping for one run to score, so it could be like minus 250 or minus 300, so I could just make a big hedge. And then one run scored, and then they walked somebody, and then Hinch, and this was a question move by Hinch, but Hinch took out Greinke, and at that point, everything changed.
If you feel bad for anybody more than anybody, I would say it's Greinke because he pitched his heart out.
Oh my!
And he comes away with the
mean,
loss.
He should have a ring.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they got him for this particular.
But at the same
instance.
time, Scherzer is a beast. He's worked hard his entire career. He's never been in this spot before. You know, in a Game 7, no, not many pitchers will. And I was really happy for him. As I think a lot of people will be disappointed for Greinke. Scherzer is well deserving. He is a beast. He is a competitor.
And so is Strasburg.
I think a lot of pitchers in his spot yesterday, when you're down 2-0, you give up a couple early runs, they don't stay the course. And Scherzer is such a competitor. Every pitch, he said it after the game. He just focused on what he was doing. He knew that 2 runs was 2 runs, that they have enough offense to get it back. And he was, after giving up that second run, he was near perfect. He got out of a couple jams. And by the way, so did the relief. They were in some jams as well. They got the big outs when they needed to get them. I'm talking about runners at first and third, 1 out. Runners at second and third, 2 out. The Houston Astros yesterday left a lot of men on base.
They left 13 on base.
And also important tonight, both teams, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, had 8 hits or 9 hits.
9 hits.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at the stats in this game, you say to yourself, well, wait a second, Houston probably should have won this game. But not the case. Washington got the big outs when they needed to. They made the pitches when they needed to, and they got some clutch hits when they needed to, and that's it. But, what do you make of these teams winning on the road? I mean, this whole series. Did you find that a little bit weird?
Every single game was won on the road. That was the first time in Major League Baseball history. And this Nationals team, I mean, let's be honest, they were 19-31 after May, 2 weeks in, or 2 months in. Then they almost lose to the Brewers. Then they almost lose to they destroyed the Cardinals or the Dodgers. Then they almost lose to the Dodgers. Then they destroy the Cardinals, and then they're down 3-2 again to the Houston Astros, and they come back and they win the entire thing. I mean, it's arguably one of the most impressive performances in postseason history. And in my opinion, Steven Strasburg's 5-0 record, and Strasburg and Scherzer together, when the Nationals pitched one of those two, they went 9-0 in the postseason.
Well,
that's never happened.
Congratulations on calling it right yesterday, because you did say this on the air yesterday. You like the over, you like the Nationals. You've been praising the Nationals all year, and I think we got to take a break, but I think we can say this was great for Major League Baseball. It was a very entertaining series to watch. I'm not even a huge baseball guy. I watched every pitch of every game in this series.
MLB picked up some fans this last week.
No question. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, it's our Dirty Dining segment with ABC 13's Darcy Spears. Take a break. Be back right after this.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report impeachment inquiry formalized. Republican Congressman Jim Jordan is accusing Democrats of trying to impeach the president because they can't vote him out.
They are trying to impeach the President of the United States less than 13 months before an election based on an anonymous whistleblower with no firsthand knowledge who has a bias against the president. It's reported that the whistleblower worked with Vice President Biden, and on it goes.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
It's about the truth. It's about the Constitution. We will do so in a way that brings people together, that is healing rather than dividing. And that is how we will honor our oath of office.
The measure defines the procedures lawmakers will follow as they transition from weeks of closed-door interviews with witnesses to public hearings and ultimately to possible votes on whether to recommend Trump's impeachment. The Senate would then conduct a trial and vote. I'm Mike Moss. Firefighters continue to work around the clock to put out fires in California. San Bernardino Deputy Fire Chief Kathleen Opplinger says heed all evacuation orders when you're told to leave.
This fire moves so fast and continues to have the potential to move so quickly that if folks don't evacuate when we ask them to, it'll be very difficult to try to get them out when the fire is moving toward their home. So for their safety, it is absolutely imperative that folks go when we ask them to go.
TC Energy's Keystone Pipeline leaked an estimated 380,000 gallons of oil in North Dakota. Crews shut down the pipeline that carries the tar sand oil from Canada to this country. The pipeline spill and shutdown comes as the company is seeking to build the Keystone XL pipeline to carry oil to refineries in Texas. The Dow down 214. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
Well, the crash remains on the I-15 southbound near Owens. It's tying up a center lane, although crews are trying to get it off to the right shoulder. That means stop and go back behind it. 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at Stephanie, another wreck for you. Also working a hit and run eastern of Tropicana. Crash involving injuries on Maryland Parkway just south of Trop. And one more for you, Sahara and Lamb. Sam and Dash are the accident attorneys who do what's right. They're committed to you. Call Sam and Dash 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000. That's 1-800-304-2000. I'm Bradley J. in the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Welcome to Velo, the modern take on nicotine. It's the hassle-free nicotine pouch that leaves the chargers, smoke, and mess where they belong, in the past. So whether you're mid-flight or mid-meeting, on the grind or off the grid, living large or laying low, with Velo, there are no limits to where you can go. Go to Velo.com now to find your retailer. Velo, no limits. Website restricted to age 21 plus tobacco consumers. Underage sale prohibited.
Tempur-Pedic. I can't think of another brand so synonymous with quality or that's more respected. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress, your Tempur-Pedic elite dealer, and the best place to shop with a large in-stock inventory, same-day delivery, and award-winning service. Come in now and we'll give you a $300 gift absolutely free with your purchase of any Tempur-Pedic mattress, plus 72 months no-interest financing. Best Mattress, home of the 120-day guarantee. Sleep easy, friends.
Are you interested in owning rental properties right here in the Las Vegas area? Auction.com, the nation's leading real estate auctioneer, must sell 102 rental properties in the Las Vegas and Henderson markets. These are turnkey, income-producing single-family homes and condos with tenants and leases in place. That's right, the tenants are in place and currently paying rent on over 100 homes to be auctioned individually at auction.com/radio. Financing is available and a broker co-op is being offered for this one-time unprecedented online auction to be held November 11th through 13th. Add more rentals to your portfolio, diversify your investments to add real estate, or buy your very first real estate investment. This is an auction that can't be missed. View all homes and auction details at auction.com/radio. That's www.auction.com/radio. Auction is subject to a reserve.
This is what parents are saying about Infinity, the Math Institute.
She didn't like school. She really did not like to go to math class. She would be very upset. She wouldn't do her homework. With Infinity Math, she actually listened and wanted to succeed in math.
My kids were already good in math, but now they're excellent. My husband and me, we are so happy because we see how she is interested in math and that she is always excited to go. We are so glad we made this choice to send her to Infinity.
I like Infinity because it has broadened my children's view on math because Mr. Brookhagen is an awesome teacher.
Math is everywhere. There's no reason why our kids should hate it. Infinity changed that for my kids, and imagine what they can do for you.
Call Infinity, the Math Institute, at 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. Infinity, the Math Institute. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Las Vegas's only FM news talk station is right here. The new 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro rolling out hour number 3. So glad you could join us. By the way, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. He got into it with an employee a few weeks ago. I don't know how much about that he can talk about, but somebody at TMZ got fired, and he was involved in that. So Mike Babcock coming up here at the bottom of the hour. But, I always love having Darcy Spears come on from ABC 13. She does a fantastic job with her Dirty Dining segments, and this week is no different. Darcy, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me back. Hello to all the KDON listeners and Dirty Dining fans out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great intro.
So, Darcy, let's just get right into it, okay? Let's just start off with a diner that I have never been to before. It is called Metro Diner, and it landed on your Dirty Dining segment. What can you tell us about this diner?
So last night, yes, Metro Diner was our high demerit earner. They have a couple of different locations in town, but it was the one on Rainbow and Warm Springs that drew the attention of health inspectors in the demerit department this week. They got a 29 demerit C grade on their October 15th inspection, and one of the things that kind of stood out to me because it made national news recently was the concept of corporate food. Do you remember that whole flap about Panera and their macaroni and cheese?
I do remember that, yes.
Okay, so it struck me when I was reading the health report here that there was a note of basically commercially prepared food that they were just reheating at Metro Diner, one of those items being mac and cheese. I was like, oh my gosh, are we talking Panera all over again? So just kind of an interesting concept that, when you go to these restaurants and you think you're going to a local eatery and you're getting, nice home-cooked food, they're not even necessarily cooking it in their own kitchen. It's manufactured, prepared, packaged elsewhere, and then shipped out to the different corporate locations. And sometimes all they're doing is reheating the food, and I'm just thinking they can't even get that right. There was so much food at unsafe temperatures, including the commercial.
So where are they getting this food from? Where are they getting? Okay, so you're saying this food is processed somewhere else. They're not even making it fresh there in the restaurant. They're getting it. They're storing it, what, in like a freezer or a fridge, and they're just heating it up when a customer orders something? That's disgusting.
Yeah, for some of the menu items, yes. In particular, on this week's report, they mentioned macaroni and cheese and marinara sauce. So I don't know if it's coming from their corporate headquarters in Tampa, Florida, which is where the statement that they sent me came from, or if they have more regional kitchen type facilities that service the different diners in different states.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they also had improper hand washing after cracking raw eggs and handling dirty dishes, expired turkey and chili on the line and in the walk-in cooler. Is that correct?
Yes, those are some of the larger violations, and while it might not be as super gross out potential as you get when you hear a place is crawling with cockroaches, I always like to remind people that improper hand washing is one of, if not the most serious violation that we see on health inspection reports. It's almost always the very first violation that health inspectors write up in that health report. And it's considered, under Section 1 on the health inspection, it's considered a critical violation. And it's 5 demerits for just that one critical violation.
So, Darcy, when you walk into this Metro Diner, I know you had a little bit of an interaction with one of the managers there. Can you tell us what happened?
or what didn't happen,
Right,
as the case may be.
right.
Yeah, so we get there, and I'm just like, hey, it says it's closed. It's, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. What's up? So we looked at the hours on the door, and we noted that they actually closed down for like 2.5 hours in the middle of every day, I guess, in between their breakfast or lunch service and dinner service. But there were still people inside. So I knock on the door. And another thing I mentioned was they have the managing partner's name emblazoned on the door. And I'm like, okay, this must mean that, they want to have a nice relationship with the community. They're telling you who the managing partner is. They want to know you by name, that kind of thing. So I knock on the door, and a staff member kind of peeks out at me through the window, and I hold up my microphone so she can see what's happening. And she cracks the door open, and I give her my spiel of who I am and why I'm there, and may I please speak to the person in charge. And I said, I know you guys aren't serving customers, but clearly there's staff here, so can I speak to the person in charge, and here's why. And so she takes my card and disappears. And then when the door reopens, I didn't even get a chance to, start talking. The guy's just, immediately, I'll be happy to give this to my corporate office and have them contact you. It's literally the first thing out of his mouth before I even say, hi, I'm Darcy Spears from Channel 13. So he's got my card in his hand from the previous staff member telling me he's going to give it to his corporate office and have them contact me.
All right. Well, that sounds like an awful place to eat. You did a great job there, and we're glad you're reporting that to the people here in Las Vegas. All right, let's go to a repeat offender. And by the way, if you're just joining us, we are speaking with Darcy Spears, ABC 13. She does a great job with this dirty dining segment she does, and she's nice enough to talk about it with us every week, every Thursday. Okay, so let's talk about a repeat offender, Kebab Kitchen. You might want to call it the throw-up kitchen. Anyway, where is this place located, and tell us what you found again.
So Kebab Kitchen Mediterranean Grill is on Cheyenne and Wallapai. It's actually very, very close to a metro substation out there in the Northwest Area Command. In fact, when we went in the first time, there was a cop in uniform sitting there eating his lunch, and as he saw us walk in, he just, plunks down some cash on the table, doesn't finish his lunch, gets up, and walks out.
All right, hold on a second. I'm trying to picture this before we continue here. Sorry to interrupt. So you're saying you walk into the Kebab Kitchen with your microphone and cameraman. There's a police officer sitting there eating. He takes a look at you, and he's like, oh, no, almost like he knew what you were there for. He plops money on the table and leaves?
And leaves and just walks out without a word.
That's great. Oh, my God, I love that. Okay, go ahead.
So Kebab Kitchen was on Dirty Dining earlier this month in October. We just had them on a few weeks ago as the high demerit earner for that particular week. And then they failed their reinspection from that previous downgrade. You cannot get more than 10 demerits. You can't have any repeat critical and major violations when you're getting reinspected, but they failed. So when health inspectors went back, I'm sure the restaurant was fully hoping that they were going to get their A back. Instead of getting their A back, they took that C and turned it into a closure.
Oh, wow.
And some of the violations that the health inspector noted at that reinspection were dirty soda nozzles. And when you go to fill up your soda at the little self-service soda machine, there's this little nozzle that the stuff comes out of and goes into your cup. So there's all this brown slime that your drink is flowing through to get into your cup.
Right.
And they told the health inspector that they clean the soda nozzles with soda water. And that's not okay and clearly not effective. You can't clean something that has a bunch of carbonated sugar water coming out of it with soda water.
How dumb can you be?
So sometimes you hear stuff, but the word dirty appeared all over that inspection. Dirty walls, dirty floor sink, dirty kitchenwares stored as clean, including they were reusing bulk containers. That's a big thing for
with
the health
mayonnaise,
You're
right?
not allowed to take a single-use container. And, even though we do this at home in our own kitchens to be environmentally conscientious, you may wash out a plastic to-go container or put it through the dishwasher and then reuse it, to store leftovers or whatever. But you can't do that in a commercial kitchen. So they had taken an old mayonnaise container, a bulk mayonnaise container that they had rinsed out and were reusing. But lo and behold, it had a whole bunch of black mold inside it.
Oh my
So,
God! I mean, this is
yucky and
serious. I mean, people could get seriously
Really,
ill.
really,
This
really
is
sick from
awful.
that.
Okay, well, I think it's fair to say that the kebab kitchen is no longer in service. Is that
well,
correct?
they put the kibosh on the kebab, shall we say.
All right, no more kebab kitchen. Oh
But
my
that was
God!
temporary. They are back open. They're back open. They got their A grade back. And interestingly, this owner and the owner of Favorite Bistro at the Link Promenade, which was also shut down for an imminent health hazard, they both took issue with their health inspectors, respectively. And we do hear that from time to time. A lot of places are kind of afraid to call out their health inspector, but, the kebab kitchen owner was very critical of the health inspector, in fact, called the health district and complained about her, and they sent out someone else, and that someone else is the one who ended up giving him his A grade back. But we heard the same thing from the owner of Favorite Bistro at the Link, who was telling us that they were trying to explain to the health inspector what was happening, and she just didn't want to hear it. So it's interesting.
That's interesting.
Politics and the blame game and the dirty dining game.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this. In the history of you doing this, do you think there's ever been an under-the-table payment to a health inspector to say, hey, we want to reopen or we want a better grade? Has there ever been a case where there's been some, or you suspected, there was some illegal shenanigans going on? Because this is very interesting what you're telling me. You're telling me that this kebab place, they didn't like the health inspector that got them a bad grade. All of a sudden, they switched to another health inspector. Oh, here you go. Here's an A. I find that a little strange.
I will tell you that I have heard that allegation many, many, many times.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been able to prove it. I've never seen it happen. Of course, that would, be something, right?
Right, yeah.
But the proof is in the pudding when it comes to putting stuff on the air. So even if someone says it's happening, believes it's happening, alleges that it's happening,
Mm-hmm.
we can't include that in our reports unless we have absolutely definitive proof that that's the case. But you could say where there's smoke, there's fire, and you hear things
Sure.
enough times, and I suppose the likelihood that it has happened is quite high. I just don't have any personal experience
would
to
that
back that up.
would that be considered dining lobbying? Dining lobbyists? Or
That's like the nicest term you could probably call it for.
Dining lobbyist. I like
you
that.
just have to find the health inspector who shows up driving a Bentley and lives in a $2.5 million house.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've yet to see that. They have those cute little county cars, and they keep it on the up and up in that regard.
Okay, Darcy. So this might be this is a question I think I'd like to ask you every week, and it might be a difficult one for you to answer since you've been doing this for such a long time. But let's just say your family's in town, or you got a bunch of friends in town. What is the one restaurant that you would advise them to not go to? Stay away. What would be the one place you say, there is no chance I'm even going to go 100 feet within this restaurant?
We're going to call it the dirtiest diner.
What is the dirtiest diner that you would advise all people to stay away from if they decided to hang out and go on a date or go out with their family? What would it be?
Well, it would have to be one that's a repeat offender and that keeps getting in trouble with the health district over and over and over again and just blows chance after chance after chance. The most recent example of that is Taqueria El Buen Pastor. And
that just sounds disgusting to begin with, yeah.
Let me say it with a good accent, though. Taqueria El Buen Pastor.
Oh, very good.
That was
so at least I
extremely
sound
good.
like I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But yeah, they have multiple locations around the valley. One of their locations had its health permit permanently revoked,
Wow.
as in shut down for good. They blew, and the health district gives restaurants a lot of chances. They really tried to bring them into compliance. So you have to mess up a lot in order to lose your health permit permanently.
Hey, JD, I'll buy you lunch there today. What do you think?
I think that is a...
The funny thing about that, you guys, it's kitty corner to the health district's headquarters.
Oh, wow.
That
They're
is
right
crazy.
next. It's like breaking the law when the police are right there.
You
Brian,
keep me on your best behavior just by virtue of your location.
you pay me $5,000, Brian, and I will consider going to lunch there with you.
So you put money before your health. Well, those are good standards you have.
Hey,
That's good.
he's got a price and he named it.
He does. Darcy, why don't you give out the information to us when your segment airs on ABC 13? Give out that information, where people can follow you, and how can they see this segment on television rather than the radio?
On TV every Wednesday night on 13 Action News Live at 11 p.m. Dirty Dining airs. It is a weekly segment that airs every Wednesday night. And then knowing that not everybody's awake at 11 p.m., we also re-air it on Thursdays. Today is the day, everyone, at 6:30 p.m. We
All
have
right.
an hour-long newscast from 6 to 7. We typically air it in our 6:30 p.m. half hour. So that's the re-air for anyone who might have missed the debut, which is every Wednesday night at 11. And, of course, for those people who prefer getting news on their desktop or their mobile phone, always, 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 you'll be able to find it at ktnv.com or on our mobile app.
Awesome. Darcy, we always love it. We appreciate it, and we look forward to having you on again next week. Keep up the good work.
Thanks so much for having me, and we'll see you next week. Have a happy Halloween.
All right. Yes,
Yeah,
happy
thanks a lot,
Halloween,
Darcy.
Darcy. Thank you so much. All right, there you go. Dirty Dining segment weekly with ABC 13's very own Darcy Spears. Do you remember the name of that restaurant she just brought up? I don't even remember. What was that restaurant?
Taqueria El Pastor?
Taqueria something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like that.
Taqueria, I'm not going to go there because I'm going to get sick if I do. Oh, my God.
Well, I just, $5 grand covers what? Maybe.
Food poisoning is very serious.
Yeah, it's definitely some medical bills, some type of, Pedialyte.
You okay? You look like you just threw up in your mouth there.
Something along the lines.
Oh, okay. You all right?
And my deductible.
Oh, okay.
I feel like $5 grand would cover that if I were to go to that
Well,
restaurant.
I'm going to give a
ready.
story about our good friend Chris Wynn, who's actually going to be filling in for me tomorrow on the show. So me and Chris, we go to the Orleans Buffet. And by the way, I like the Orleans. It's a fun place. There's some great restaurants there. I'm not a big fan of buffets in general. But by the way, our producer wants to name this new restaurant. Taqueria Diarrhea. That's the name. Yeah, he wants to name it that.
Stein, that was a good one.
But anyway,
that was
so
really good.
anybody who knows my friend Chris knows that he enjoys buffets. There's nothing wrong with that. And every single time we go to a buffet, the buffet loses money. The reason is he gets about 10 plates of food. He enjoys his buffets. So I go with him to the Orleans. This was probably like maybe a year ago or something. So we go to the buffet, JD, and he's got watermelon, he's got sushi, everything. I don't trust buffet sushi. Never have, never will. He chows down. About 30 minutes later, he says, "Hey, Shap, I'm not feeling too good." I'm like, "Oh, what's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't know, bro. I think I ate something bad in the buffet. I think it was the sushi or the watermelon." I'm like, "Oh, no." So we were considering going and watching the football game that night somewhere. Instead, we go to his house. I have never seen him this sick. He is literally curled up in the fetal position on his disgusting couch where his cats urinate every day. That's just disgusting. Anyway, so he's curled up on his couch, moaning and groaning, and I'm like, "Dude, do you need me to take you to the hospital?" He refused. It took him hours, but after a while he felt better, but it had to be the food he ate. Now, I don't know. We pinpointed it probably, most likely the sushi. But my advice is if sushi's sitting down at a buffet for a long period of time, you probably shouldn't touch it. Now, there are some really good sushi buffets in town, and they don't sponsor our show, but Makino is the first one that comes to mind. But it's fresh. You've got the people right there making the sushi. I don't trust some of these other places where food is just sitting out for a while. I've been very fortunate that I haven't really had too many meals in Vegas that were bad or that tasted bad, but I did go to McDonald's a few months ago. I'm a big fan of their fish fillet. I like extra tartar sauce on my fish fillet. And I swear to you, I'm not making this up. I took a bite out of the sandwich. Something did not taste right. I opened up the sandwich, and the middle of the fish was green. I'm not kidding. I am, at this point, I'm livid. And anybody knows me well. I'm an extremely lazy person, meaning if I'm 2 blocks away from where I picked up the food, I'm not going to turn around because I'm so lazy. I'll just go somewhere else. I was so livid that I actually went back because this could get you sick, right? So I go back to speak to the manager. He looks at it. He's a complete moron. He doesn't say sorry. He doesn't say, "Oh, my God, sir." I'm telling you the truth here. He grabs the sandwich and he throws it away. Doesn't say, "Oh, let me give you a refund, sir. I'm so sorry. What else can..." He just grabs it and he goes, "Oh," and he just throws it away. Doesn't say anything to me. I look at him and I say, "So you're not going to give me a refund?" And then he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, sir, what else would you like?" Like I was inconveniencing him. I am not the kind of person that is going to complain about food. In fact, I'll eat just about anything. But I draw the line when it is a green fish fillet at McDonald's. That's where I draw the line. And I'm just, the customer service in some of these places, and I know it's probably a guy that's not making a lot of money. He's working at McDonald's. Maybe he hates his life. I don't know. I don't know what his person, maybe he had a bad day. But he was such a jerk. And then you go to some of these expensive restaurants. If I spend $60 or $70 on a steak, I would like it to taste good. If I spend a couple $100 on a bottle of wine, I would like it to taste good. That's all. And everybody has different taste buds and different, I get that. But I don't think it's out of bounds to complain about something if you don't like it. That's all I'm saying. So do you think I was out of line, JD, by driving back to that McDonald's and complaining to the manager? I mean, it wasn't like, oh, there's not enough tartar sauce on there, or, I don't know, it's not hot enough. It was green. The fish fillet was green. This could get somebody sick. Do you think I was out of line?
No, I don't think you're out of line, Brian. No, I would have done something probably similar. I would have asked for a corporate number, and I would have taken a picture with it, and I would have asked for an email. I would have taken a picture of the sandwich.
That takes too much time.
That takes maybe a minute and a half, but it's worth it. And they would, if it was actually green,
it really was. The middle of it was green.
You would get hundreds of dollars in free food.
Damn it! I should have done that.
Had you taken that? Had you taken?
Why didn't you tell me?
Had you taken that photo and put it on Twitter or something like that?
I should have done it.
The reaction could be.
Then you would have yelled at,
especially with how competitive.
Then you would have yelled at me for
industry
putting
is.
something inappropriate on Twitter. You would have yelled at me.
Well, from your own personal Twitter page, not from the Vegas Take Twitter page.
So what do you think?
I'm Brian Shapiro or Real Brian Shapiro. That would
be great. What do you
great.
think should have been the headline if I did do that? And I wish I did. What do you think I should have put as the headline? Gross green fish fillet at McDonald's. I'm just curious. What should I have tweeted out?
Yeah, a middle of man's fish fillet sandwich.
Green dead fish.
Green color or something along those lines.
Our producer Johnny said we should have labeled it McDonald's Goes Green. I like that. That's a good one.
It would have drawn a lot of attention too.
The green
accidentally.
The green new fish deal brought to you by Ocasio-Cortez.
A lot of vegans would have been extremely outraged by it.
All right, I promise you this. Whenever something like, I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, you're going to be the first person I'm going to call, and I'm going to have you tweet it for me. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
great,
going to have you in charge of it.
Mickey D's Goes Green.
I will give you half the McDonald's gift certificates I get if that does happen again. We will split it, but I want you to do the tweeting.
I'll tell you what, I don't trust any place that has a happy hour with sushi because they're using sushi.
I agree.
They're using sushi from days before, so do not trust a happy hour sushi
That's
place.
good advice. It's Mr. Darcy Spears giving you the advice. I like it. All right, our thanks to Darcy. Coming up next, TMZ's very own Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Take a break. Be back right after this.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce is a challenging time for anybody, but if you're a member of our country's military, those challenges can impair your ability to perform your duty. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand the unique problems that military families face during divorce, and these issues range from parenting to pensions, and they require an understanding of military life and law. We've been working to protect guys in the military for over 25 years. So we know that nothing has the potential to distract you from your mission like a family crisis. And that's where Cordell & Cordell can serve you. Let us protect you on the home front while you protect us on other fronts. Thank you for your service.
By the way, unless you're in Missouri or Illinois, I'm not licensed in your state, but that's okay. Our attorneys in your state are.
Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Las Vegas area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. Offices in Henderson and Summerlin.
Hey, it's Brian Shapiro from the Vegas Take Care, and now it's time for Infinity's Fun Fact of the Day.
Math is the universal language, and mathematicians from America, Russia, China, and India could all understand each other's equations, even if they didn't know a single word outside their native tongue. This language of notation began in the 1500s. Before that, mathematicians wrote their equations, problems, and proofs out in words.
Don't forget to visit themathinstitute.com for more information on how to make your child the most successful student they can be.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
And now a message from the traffic cone you ran over on Blue Diamond last week.
Okay, ow, that hurt. I know, you're in a hurry, but I could have been killed. Look, I have a wife and a baby cone on the way. I'm out there risking it all. And for what? I'll tell you. Southern Nevada's economic future. I'm helping the I-11 get built and the Centennial Bowl. So show a cone a little love.
Love the cone. For road construction details, visit seeingOrangeNV.com or call 702-928-CONE.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM. Yeah, now on FM. The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
Special report impeachment inquiry formalized. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the facts led to the vote.
And today, the House takes the next step forward as we establish the procedures for open hearings conducted by the House Intelligence Committee so that the public can see the facts for themselves.
Congressman Adam Schiff says Democrats who voted to approve an impeachment blueprint are doing their duty.
We take no joy in having to move down this road and proceed with the impeachment inquiry, but neither do we shrink from it.
Republican Doug Collins says the battle has just begun.
Folks, this ain't over. Get ready. The cloud that is dropping will be dropping on their heads because process matters and substance will always win out in the end, and this president has nothing to worry about on substance.
Democrats accuse Trump of abusing his office and jeopardizing national security for his own personal political gain. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
Traffic sponsored by Sam and Dash. A wreck over on the west side, Summerlin Parkway eastbound at Durango. Haven't spotted this one just yet. Still clearing out a collision on the southbound I-15 near Owens. That's hanging off right. You're going to see brake lights from Cheyenne. Then an injury wreck on Rancho in the 95. Same story. Maryland Parkway south of Tropicana. You deserve accident attorneys who are in your corner and do what's right. You deserve Sam and Dash. Call Sam and Ash 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000. That's 1-800-304-2000. I'm Bradley J. in the KDON Traffic Center.
Psst, Bob, quick, the neighbors. There they go again. Jeez, it's like clockwork. Every weekend, he grabs his clubs, she grabs a duffel, and they're gone for the night. And when they come back, they look so relaxed and happy. Where do you think they go?
Well, they're not rich, so it must be affordable. Maybe some kind of marriage retreat?
Oh, right, with golf clubs. And she looks so refreshed.
We could use some of whatever it is. Go ask them when they get back.
Well, they're back, and you won't believe it.
Surprise me.
They've been going to Casablanca Resort in Mesquite on that $99 room and golf getaway. Sometimes they go for the $99 room and spa getaway. They love it.
Hey, we could afford $99, and it's only a little more than an hour's drive. Let's treat ourselves.
Book your $99 room and golf or spa getaway today at mesquitegaming.com or call 877-GETAWAY. Casablanca Resort in Mesquite, just like Vegas used to be. Must be 21 years or older.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and listen to us deliver timely, balanced truths about our market right here in Southern Nevada. You know, there's nothing that I enjoy more than educating our listeners about real estate, except maybe a well-prepared Reuben sandwich where the corned beef is really lean. Sorry, I digress. But please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.
Hi, this is Sabrina Chapman inviting you to join me every Sunday from noon to 12:30 p.m. for my new show, Mommy's Meetings and Mimosas. We'll be interviewing the leading Las Vegas ladies that are handling business and motherhood like a boss. Only on 101.5 FM, 720 KDON.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
I do like that I don't lie to my audience every damn chance I get.
All right, welcome back. Thank you, Chris Cuomo. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Halloween night. Yeah, we're going to be catching a little Marilyn Manson tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And plenty of sports to talk about us, too. And what better person to talk about pop culture, sports pop culture, than the man himself, Mike Babcock, who joins us every Thursday from TMZ Sports. Mike, how's it going? How you doing?
What's up, fellas? How are you?
I'm doing good. So,
doing great, Mike.
Plenty of subjects we want to get to in a short period of time, as we always do, Mike. And I know that there are some specifics and some stuff that you really can't talk about when it comes to the issue you faced a few weeks ago, getting into a political dispute, what have you, with a coworker who was fired. I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot here. I know you can't talk about that. However, I do want to ask you this. Is it weird for you that your job is to cover stories? How weird is it when you become the national story? Because you became the national story. This was a national story. Is that weird for you that all of a sudden you Google your name and people are writing about you?
Yeah, it was very different. It, much different perspective for me. In a way, it's probably helpful because now I understand what it's like when somebody gets a call from a reporter. I know what it's like to be on the other side of that. Now, maybe not the best feeling in the world, but it was certainly strange for me. I'm used to being on the other side, and I'm used to doing the TV shows and stuff, but to read about yourself and to see some things that are not true, it was a unique situation, and it was somewhat of a helpless feeling situation at some point.
Can you give me an example of, somebody writing something about you that is 100% fabricated and not true that just pisses you off?
That I am politically far right.
So people think you're a right winger that is a Trump supporter that maybe wearing a Klan outfit. So people are making those assumptions about you.
And it's stuff. I mean, not the Klan stuff and stuff like that. Thankfully, that wasn't written. But
good.
I'm glad it went from that I lean right, which I would disagree with. I think I'm very moderate, but it went from being written that I lean right to then that I was far right, and it's like a bad game of telephone. That things when they're just copied and copied and copied, and then by the time 5-10 people have done it, just the story, the characterizations are so completely off and wrong, and there's not much you can do about it. So like I said, it's a little bit of a helpless feeling, but that would be the one thing above all else that I would say was way off about what was said.
Well, and that's the nature of the beast living in Los Angeles as well, as if you're considered even remotely right, you were considered extremist right. Is that not true?
Very true. There's, Hollywood obviously is, for the most part, a very liberal place. So, right, even if you are a moderate, then maybe to some people, maybe that is far right, just because you are far right of where they stand.
Yeah. So, Mike, and I know you can't talk about specifics, and I certainly don't want to put you in that position.
Yes,
however, no, I don't. I certainly don't, because you're great for our show. We enjoy having you on. Last thing we'd want to do is piss you off. But, I know that if I got into a conflict with somebody that I work with, and let's just say whether it's your fault or not, and that person gets fired, they have friends that you work with. So, I mean, I would imagine this has got to be a little bit of an awkward situation for you, where I would imagine there are some people that you work with that might hold resentment towards you, even though it might not be your fault, right?
Yeah, I haven't felt any of that. It was just, it was just a strange situation that happened at the wrong place and time. I like you said, Brian, I can't really talk about it. The thing I will say is that, Van is someone who, for 6 years, was my best friend in this building, and I still consider us close friends, and everything between him and I is perfectly fine right now.
Well, that's good. We're glad to hear that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about other people, finally. So Josh Hamilton is accused of really doing some terrible things to his 14-year-old daughter. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, oh man, it was tough to read this. So Josh Hamilton is accused of essentially berating and beating his daughter. It's unclear exactly how old she is. She is under 15 years old, though, and she went to Child Protective Services, and she told them of an incident that allegedly recently happened where her and her dad got into a verbal argument, and it set him off, according to what she told authorities. She says that he basically, picked up a chair, threw it at her, hit her in the legs, hurt her, picked her up, let her fall on the ground, pick her up again, walked her over near a bed, threw her on a bed. At one point, she says that he took one of his hands and pinned her head down to the bed and was hitting her with not only slapping, but also with a closed fist, punching her. She said that he threw a water bottle at her that hit her in the chest that also hurt her. So it paints a really awful scene, a really sad scene.
Right.
And she says when he was finally done beating her, he said, why don't you go tell a judge how bad of a father I am so I never have to see you again. And she says that's how he ended the argument. So it's a tough situation.
Is that totally hearsay, or are there photos involved or anything, or any other evidence besides that?
Right. So no photos. And look, this court case is just getting started here now. So just from having done this and seen similar cases, I'm sure that as long as authorities got to her soon enough, that they would have tried to document any physical damage that had been done to her. So this is primarily based off of what the alleged victim, his daughter, told to authorities, but also he has two other kids who were there who were not involved in the alleged physical abuse, but the two children, from what I understand, did tell authorities that they saw and they heard at least some of the physical abuse that this girl says, her dad kind of, did to her.
And if you don't know who Josh Hamilton is, I would imagine some of you don't. He's been out of baseball for a little bit, former Major League Baseball player, former All-Star as well. All right, Mike, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects. That would be boobs. Let's talk about the World Series flasher, Julia Rose.
Fine.
She is saying that she planned the $80,000 stunt for a year. This is two women who decided to go topless right behind the plate of the World Series and made national news. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, I talked to them earlier in the week, morning after they pulled the stunt at the World Series. And they say they were doing it. They have a magazine that they wanted to promote. They say they were doing it to promote the magazine, but they also said that they were trying to do some good here and they were trying to raise some money for breast cancer awareness. I talked to them. They said that they planned all along, from the time that they bought these tickets to the game, that they were going to flash the cameras. And they're mad that they've been banned too. She feels, Julia in particular, feels that there's a double standard here, that guys have been celebrated for decades for taking their shirts off at games, and she feels like girls should be able to do the same.
I agree. If I'm the general manager there in that ballpark, I give them free season tickets for life. That's just the way I would do it, right? How about the fat guy who slid on the dugout? We remember that story, right? That was funny. I'm not getting sexually aroused by looking at that man. To each his own. But I don't know. I don't understand that. Explain that to me, Mike Babcock. Why is it that men can take their clothes off but women can't? Their shirt. I'm talking about not bottomless. I'm talking about topless.
I don't know. Right. The only thing I'd say, obviously, a woman's breasts are something that's sexualized, and when you see a man with his shirt off, I don't think that's men's breasts are not sexualized.
Listen, when JD,
unless it's Seth Rogen next to Zac Efron.
When JD takes his shirt off, I comment on his breasts all the time, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes.
All right, so there goes that argument's blown out of the water. And I looked it up. Look, things are changing, too, guys. In 6 states, girls can go topless. It's completely legal in 6 states. I don't remember which states off the top of my head. But, there are places around this country where women can take off their tops.
Okay, honest question for you.
I thought baseball was a little harsh with the lifetime ban. I thought that was a little harsh.
Well, it's America's pastime, and for now, boobs aren't America's pastime, but that could be changing as we speak. So, honest, very serious question for you. If Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid were to fight either in MMA or in a boxing ring, would you pay $50 to watch it? Because I would, based on what I saw last night.
Oh, for sure. I'm there. 100%. I love it. I love it. I was so into it last night when it happened. I just talked to Eddie Alvarez, a former UFC champion, and he said that he's a big Philadelphia 76ers fan. He's from Philly. He said that he was DMing with Ben Simmons last night, and he says he's serious about this. He says he's going down to Philly next week, and he's going to do like a little training session with Ben Simmons to brush up on some techniques. But I thought Embiid, I think I'm picking him for sure over Karl Anthony Towns, and I thought that the rear naked choke that Ben Simmons put on Cat, I thought that was good too. He got Cat to tap out. So
that was a solid move. You know what? I think Cat has put on about 30 pounds of muscle, though, in his upper body. It'd be a closer fight than you think, and I think Cat has a chance to win the MVP this year, Mike.
Oh, a supremely talented player. Yeah, he's good. I think as far as fighting, I think Joel Embiid, even though Chad has put on some muscle, like you said, he's not some scrawny little guy anymore. But
right.
I think Joel Embiid is a little too physical for him at this point. But I'm there. If we can get these guys to fight, I will count me down. Put my $50 in
Me
there.
too.
I'm in.
And Babcock, I know that you are a fighting fan, boxing and MMA, so I got to ask you about a fight I'm going to be going to Saturday night in Vegas. That would be Canelo Alvarez and Kovalev. Do you think Kovalev has any chance to win this fight?
Yeah, I do. I think he has a chance to win. I think when you look at these two guys together, and I know Canelo's put on a lot of muscle, and I understand that, but just
legally,
Kovalev is just a bigger man.
Legally.
He's just a bigger man. I mean, you look at them stand next to each other, and Canelo's taller, he's bigger, he's just a bigger man, and with the power that Kovalev has, absolutely, I think he has a chance to win the fight. I don't think he is going to win the fight, but to say that Canelo's just going to go in there and he's just going to run over Kovalev, I don't think that's going to be the case at all.
I tend to agree with you, but I do think Canelo wins the fight because I think they're setting it up for a Triple G rematch, and when there's enormous hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, I'm not saying the fight's going to be fixed. I just think Canelo wins this fight in a decision. Well, Mr.
Right, and Golden Boy promotion, right, you're right. I think if Kovalev does want to win this fight, he does need to put Canelo away. He can't
knock him out. It's got to be a knockout. I agree 100%. Well, Mr. Babcock, I know it's been a long week and a half for you, so we appreciate you taking some time to join us this week. We really do, and look forward to talking with you again next week, my man. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll talk then.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Mikey.
He's had a tumultuous week and a half, 2 weeks or so.
It's got to be tough, and there's a reason why Mr. X comes on our show and doesn't give his name.
Yeah.
He does it under an alias, because when you are labeled a right-winger in Hollywood, it is a huge issue, and it sounds like Mike is having to deal with that a little bit.
And I didn't want to go too much into detail while talking to him, but if you guys didn't really know what we were talking about, Mike Babcock and his friend and longtime colleague who happens to be African-American, they got into a little bit of a political debate where Babcock might have been defending Donald Trump, and the person he was talking to was not a Trump defender. They got into a dispute, and the gentleman who's African-American happened to be fired. I don't have all the specifics. Mike Babcock couldn't talk about everything, but this is a guy who's been on TV for a very long time, who lost his job. I'm sure he'll get a job somewhere else, and I also find it interesting when Babcock did say that they're still good friends and they're talking. So that's a good thing. So there might have been some other influences that came into play. It might have not just been a dispute over politics, but I've always said if you take politics personally out in the workplace, then you shouldn't be talking about politics at all.
Especially when you're in a workplace and you're with someone that you're with every day during the workplace, and then you hang out after the fact. Things are going to trickle in because your lives are totally different.
So coming up next, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is being called an extreme haunted house in Tennessee, and the owner of the haunted house is saying, if you can get through this haunted house and finish it, I'm going to pay you $20,000 cash. The reason why nobody has been able to do it, we will tell you in a report coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Are you or a loved one struggling to hear despite using hearing aids? It might be time to ask a doctor about cochlear implants.
My cochlear implant gave me access to the sounds that I've been missing. Back to being me, and I'm unstoppable.
Cochlear implants are routinely covered by Medicare and most private insurance plans for those who meet the health plan criteria. Ready to be unstoppable? Call 833-700-HERE to learn more and find a doctor near you. Again, that's 833-700-HEAR.
Sponsored by Cochlear.
Hey, my friend's company spent 3 days cleaning up an email phishing attack that targeted several dozen employees.
Yeah, if just one malicious email slips through, an attack can spread quickly and do serious damage.
What if that happens to us?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda Forensics and Incident Response.
So we're good?
Yes. With fast automated response and remediation, all traces of the attack can be removed in less than 5 minutes.
Wow, that's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda. Your journey secured.
Hi, it's Matt Ray with America's First News, heard right here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDAWN. Start your day in the know
From Washington to Wall Street and covering the world, we've got you covered with the latest news, commentary, and analysis. Everything but the cup of coffee. America's First News, weekday mornings, 2 to 6 a.m., right here on 101.5 FM and 720 a.m. KDAWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in Saturday at 4 p.m. for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k. Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday afternoons at 4 on KDWN 101.5 FM and 720 AM.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Consider making a really positive, lasting impact in the life of a child. I'm Molly Lathan for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southern Nevada. Our goal is to put together long-term friendships. Many people don't know that it only takes 4 to 6 hours a month. Be a role model, a support, be a wise adult sounding board, and basically just be their friend. Please visit our website at bbbsn.org and click on volunteer.
Steve Sanchez, weekdays 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDAWN.
Vice President Prince needs to shut the hell up.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Hey, it is Halloween night.
I like how grimy this music is.
Yeah, it's time to get out there. Maybe we needed a little Thriller, Michael Jackson, but it is...
No, this is better.
It is a night to go out with your family, go out with your kids.
Sounds like Saw.
Go trick-or-treating, have a good time. But, sometimes Halloween, people take it a little bit too far, right? People take it to the edge. Well, here's what I'm talking about. There is a haunted house called an extreme haunted house, and it is in Tennessee, and some people are calling it a torture chamber. What I mean by this is people have to sign a petition. People are touching you. I don't know, God, what else happens in this haunted house, extreme haunted house, but we're going to find out. This report is by Jason Lamb. He's with News Channel 5 out there in Nashville, and this is an extreme haunted house that nobody seems to get through.
Online videos bill the Mgm Manor as the ultimate horror experience. And make no mistake, the waiver you sign before you start there spells it all out.
It's quite lengthy, and it keeps going and going.
Russ Mgm operates Mgm Manor in Lawrence County after working out of California and Illinois in the past. Parts of the show include staged abductions of those who sign up, even shaving off their hair on property right across the street from neighbors.
We did not sign waivers. We did not ask to be exposed to this.
These neighbors, who asked not to be identified, said they're afraid to let their 7-year-old daughter outside anymore with what they've seen here in the past 2 months.
We have heard chainsaws. We have seen people being drugged around the corner of the house. That's scary whenever it looks like someone's being abducted and you're not aware of the fact that this is supposedly a game.
Okay, first of all, I have anxiety. Hearing this woman talk gives me anxiety. Anyway, no, seriously. Nobody's being abducted, okay? You are signing a petition at your own will. To be honest with you, I don't see anything wrong with what they are doing because you have to sign a waiver, and I'm sure they explain to you some of the stuff you're exposed to before you go in there. Also, it's a game where the owner is willing to pay you $20,000 if you get through this haunted house. Now, I'm sure they do some horrible things to you. I don't think they're injuring you in any way. but they're putting bugs all over you, from what I understand. There's a lot of disgusting things that they do and some scary things. But this woman is saying, I don't want my daughter exposed to this. First of all, your daughter's not exposed to it, okay? There's nobody there that is forcing your daughter to go to this haunted house. So what is this woman talking about?
The issue is, can you hear the noises from inside the haunted house outside in the neighborhood? And if you can, I also would not want my 2-year-old or 4-year-old or even 10-year-old daughter exposed to that.
So screams.
Imagine the noises that obviously you can't
chainsaws.
see what's going on, but if you can hear it, then why would you want to hear it?
Well, you know what? Then I would tell my 2-year-old daughter it's Halloween. This is a haunted house, and that's for adults.
Well, first of all, this haunted house is open for months, not just one night. So your daughter's going to hear it all of October. What are you going to tell her then?
It's for adults.
Oh, for the next 31 days, just expect to hear these screams, these primal screams from this house that just looks terrifying.
Well, you know what? I would tell my daughter it's the same screams your mom says when she sees her husband naked. I would say the same thing.
I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Whatever happens inside the haunted house, obviously, they sign. And Brian, they sign a 40-page waiver to do this, where they agree to be touched. They have no recourse legally at all. And then And then if they actually make it through the haunted house, they get paid $20,000.
Would you try to go through this?
Absolutely not.
Why?
There's no chance in hell.
So for $5,000, you'll go to a restaurant that clearly is serving food that could get you food poisoning. But for $20,000, you wouldn't try to go.
It could happen. I've had food poisoning 3 times, and I guarantee you they'll serve me food 4 times as bad as Kebab Kitchen will ever serve me in this haunted house, along with bugs. Who knows? I mean, they basically in the waiver they take all your rights away for recourse against them.
Okay, well, you have to be 21 years or older to enter this thing. If they are 18 to 20, you have to have parents' permission. There have been reports of sexual assault, which is really horrible. I would not say that should be allowed at all under any circumstance.
Again, you sign a waiver that says you can be touched, but you cannot touch. So it's all about like mental. They're breaking you down mentally. It's very, very psychologically based. And then the workers who work there can touch you. And you can't touch them, so they could hit you, and you can't hit them back. Imagine someone insulting you in the worst possible way while you're while you're neck deep in a pool of sludge, hitting you in the face, and you can't do anything.
Well, doctors, you also have to bring a doctor's note saying that you're physically and mentally clear.
Right.
They also need to show proof of medical insurance, pass a drug test, and sign this detailed, as we mentioned, 40-page waiver. If you're claustrophobic, you're in a lot of trouble. I'm claustrophobic.
It's over.
I'm very claustrophobic. Even when I get into a plane, I panic a little bit. So this would not work well for me. I would last about 3 seconds.
I mean, I hate scary movies, so this would be
I don't mind
a horrible thing for me as well.
I don't mind people scaring me, and I don't care about all the other stuff. But I'm very claustrophobic. So obviously this would not work out well for me. The point I'm trying to make is this. I get what you're saying, but and by the way, if anyone's getting sexually assaulted, that is a crime. I don't care what waiver you sign. That's a crime.
And I can almost guarantee that that's happening.
Well, that's a crime, and people should go to jail for doing that sort of thing. You can't feel somebody up just because they sign a waiver. That's ridiculous.
And every single person that goes through there is videotaped.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person that goes through there. So if sexual assault is happening, or if a woman loses her top or something along those lines, who knows what this owner is doing with that videotape? He says it's to protect himself legally. That's why he tapes everybody.
I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to go in there and just see a behind-the-scenes look of what's going on. I don't want to be a part of it. I just want to be there to watch it. Is that wrong?
I would be interested in doing that as well. But you know what he takes for payment?
It's free.
It's not free.
According to this, it's free.
It's a bag of dog food.
Well, yes, but they're not charging
because
money.
He has 4 giant dogs that he just feeds this food to every single day. I mean, it's pretty. And again, I have no problem with the haunted house. I think it's a great idea. I'm sure he's doing very well for himself with I don't know, with maybe he's selling dog food to someone and getting 60% return on it. I have no idea. But I have an issue if you can hear it from the street, and I don't disagree with what this woman is saying. Again, if you can hear it from the street, and I guarantee it. And it's
what if it was one night?
I'm guessing that you can. If it was one night, okay, fine. If it was just Halloween night, but the average haunted house is 30 days.
I've had a lot of fun in some of these haunted houses. I remember, and I wish they still did it, Circus. They did such a great haunted house. They had like 5 or 6 different haunted houses in there, and I had so much fun. I'm a little claustrophobic, so there were some points where I was a little scared. But I had if you do a haunted house the right way and tastefully, if that's possible, I think it's great. But obviously, I don't support if there's any type of sexual assault there, anything along those lines. Yes, I think that is completely and utterly inappropriate. All right, we are going to take a 21-hour break, folks. And tomorrow on the show, Chris Wynn's going to be filling in for yours truly. JD will be here, so have no worries. And we'll have a lot of fun. They will have a lot of fun. I hope everybody has a lot of fun on Halloween night. I am checking out Marilyn Manson tonight at the Palms. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a good time. But, hopefully be careful with those haunted houses. Have a great night, everybody.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Inquiry formalized. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi defends the move is vital to the nation.
What is at stake in all of this is nothing less than our democracy.
But Capitol Hill remains deeply